Howdy, howdy do Who fans. Happy New Year and welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And this is episode 250.
Yeah.
One day I shall come back. Yes, I shall come back. Until then, there must be no regrets, no tears, no anxieties. Just go forward in all your beliefs and prove to me that I am not mistaken in mine.
Our lives are different to anybody else's. That's the exciting thing. Nobody in the universe can do what we're doing.
I've reversed the polarity of the neutron flow, so the TARDIS should be free of the force field now.
You may be a doctor, but I'm the doctor. The definite article, you might say.
The trouble with time travel is, one never seems to find the time.
Change, my dear, and it seems not a moment too soon.
Unlimited rice pudding, etc., etc.
I am the Doctor!
For now, for this moment, I am the Doctor again.
The ground beneath our feet is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, and the entire planet is hurtling around the sun at 67,000 miles an hour, and I can feel it. We're falling through space, you and me.
People assume that time is a strict progression of cause to effect, but actually, from a non-linear, non-subjective viewpoint, it's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
I could be a curator. I'd be great at curating. I'd be the great curator. I could retire and do that.
I'm the Doctor. I've lived for over 2,000 years, and not all of them were good. I've made many mistakes, and it's about time that I did something about that.
Bit of adrenaline, dash of outrage, and a hint of panic knitted my brain back together. I know exactly who I am. I'm the Doctor. Sorting out fair play throughout the universe.
Hey, welcome back to the Big Blue Box podcast. Hope you've all had a cracking couple of weeks and a good Christmas and a new year, and hope that you all got to do something Doctor Who related.
Yes, indeed.
Welcome to 2020, bud.
Yes, and to you. 2020.
Indeedy. The start of a new decade and all that.
I can still remember when it was exciting. It was going to be the year 2000, like the millennium. How on earth did it get to 2020?
Yeah. It's been a crazy start to 2020. New Doctor Who, new Wurzel Gummidge, and the prospect of World War III. Yeah. It's all kicking off. It's all good.
I know. It's a crazy start to 2020, actually. And then we're only a few days into it. It's mad, isn't it?
Indeedy. Yes.
Mad.
Welcome aboard. Any new listeners that have jumped onto our podcast, welcome. Any long-time listeners, welcome back. It's great to have you all. Before we get cracking with today's show, remember to give us a subscribe on whatever podcast app you listen to podcasts on. Just follow the links that are on our website over at www.bigblueboxpod. Let me just put this brandy down.
Bit early for that.
Follow the links over at www.bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. They go off to Spotify and Apple and all those things. And if you are a listener and you've listened to our show and you like what we do, if you've got a minute to leave a rating or a review somewhere, that would be amazing because that helps us out loads. Coming up in today's show, we haven't got as much news and merch as we thought we were going to have. We were surprised by that. So we have got a few bits of news, and then we've got one piece of merch to go through, and then we're on to our review of Spyfall.
Spyfall.
How have you been, dude? How have you been the last couple of weeks?
Yes, I've been good. Yeah, not too bad at all. Busy. It's all been a bit mad over Christmas, but I've had a cracking Christmas and New Year, actually. Yeah. Really nice Christmas with family. Got one or two, well, just two, actually, bits of Doctor Who merch over Christmas. I think I only got like 3 presents altogether, so 2 out of 3 ain't bad. My neighbours actually surprised me. So we normally just give each other some biscuits each year, we exchange little presents. But this year they gave us both sort of these 2 boxes each, and we're like, oh, what's this? So I said, it's probably a box of biscuits, but it wasn't. It was 2 Dalek mugs. So me and my partner each got a Dalek mug from my neighbours, which I thought was really cool. I've never seen these before. I'm trying to think how to describe it. It's not it's not like your standard mug. It's actually in the shape of the bottom half of the Dalek, and that's it. There's no top half. It's just like the bottom half. So I think they might be unofficial merch. I don't know. I've never seen them before. Don't know where they got them. They may have made them in their back garden, I don't know, but they look cool. They're so cool. So that was nice. I was like, yay, got a bit of Doctor Who merch for Christmas. And my other half got me a little TARDIS pin badge, which I don't know where he managed to find that, but that was really cool. So Christmas was all good. And then New Year's and all that was all good. Not much Doctor Who related. I will just quickly pick up on, you mentioned Wheels of Gummidge. I watched, that's been by far my favorite thing over Christmas that I've watched. Absolutely loved that. Totally different to the Pertwee Gummidge, but in a good way. I think they had to do that. So loved that. Apart from that, not too much. I've been picking up a few mags as I've been shopping. So it's really nice to see Doctor Who back on the cover of a few magazines, like the sci-fi, mags and stuff. But I did pick up the new Doctor Who special, the 2020 yearbook, which has got Geordie on the front. And it's really good, actually, this yearbook, because I thought, what's going to be in that then? Because we're only just kicking off 2020. What have they put in there? But it's like a reflection on sort of, Jodie's first era, plus loads of other really cool stuff. Like there's loads of merch in there. They do a nice piece on the Blu-ray sets and what goes into putting them together. And they look at the figurines that have been released. So it's more of a sort of reflection on last year and Doctor Who. And actually, when you start going through it, there was actually quite a lot going on. It didn't feel like it because the show wasn't on the TV. But I've really been enjoying sort of flicking through that, and there's some really good stuff in that. So, but that's been it really. Bought a couple of bits from the Forbidden Planet sale. Got myself a Cyberman bust. I don't know where they got those from. They haven't been available for ages. They did a few of them. They did like a Cyberman, Fourth Doctor, Tennant. I don't know if you know the ones I mean. It's sort of like, they're weird because they've got no legs. Oh, yeah. Do you know the ones I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's like the top half of the body of the Doctor or whatever the figurine is, and then there's like a sort of stump that they sit on. They must have found a load in their warehouse because they haven't been available for years, and suddenly they're in the Forbidden Planet sale. So I ordered the Cyberman one, and he turned up yesterday, and he looks really, really awesome, actually. It's like the Earthshock Cyber Leader. It's that design. Absolutely love it. So, yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that. Just need to find some shelf space now to put him on, really. That's always the problem. Yeah. Although I have had a good tidy up over the new year. I've had a good old sort out. My shelf looks cracking at the minute. I've really sort of scaled it back because it was getting really cluttered. I love my Doctor Who shelf at the minute. I don't know. I can't explain it. I've just sort of tidied it, taken away a few bits. Just looks awesome. I've got my War Machine up there, all my TARDISes all in a line, my big sonic screwdriver right in the middle of it. I'm loving my Doctor Who shelf. Yeah. So that's good. Nice. Just got to find this place for the Sideman bus now. It's like, just got it all where I want it, and I've got an extra piece of merch. I'm like, where's he going to go? But I'll find a place. You can always sneak a place in somewhere. Yes, forever rearranging. Yeah, I will. Yeah, we'll find a place for him. Yeah, I'll tell you the thing I love is having all the Blu-ray, the new Blu-ray sets. I love having them lined up together. They just, I don't know. Every time I just look at them, I just think, I can't wait to add another one to that collection. Like I can't wait for the McCoy one to come out in a couple of weeks and just add it to that collection of Blu-ray sets. They are so beautiful. Yeah, they're probably my favorite thing. When I look at my shelf Doctor Who stuff, I always gravitate towards them. I just love them. They do look good on the shelf, I must admit. Yeah. Apart from, been me. Yeah. Apart from what? Yeah, apart from the slightly different shade of grey of the most... No, I'm sure that's intentional. I know Lee Binding would not allow it to be anything else. Well, Lee Binding wouldn't have... Oh, are you thinking the BBC of... Yeah. No, BBC don't make mistakes. It's only very slight, admittedly, but yeah. Can't really do much about that. The good thing with me is I'm colourblind. And I honestly can't even tell, which is true. I can't. I know people say it, and I look at them and think, I sort of nod. Yeah, I see what you mean. I'm looking at them thinking they look the same to me.
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, at first glance, you don't really
No.
notice. It's only if you kind of get a bit closer up and study it a little bit. But
yeah, I'm looking at them now thinking, no, they look. I don't know. I can't tell, but I know they are slightly different.
Yeah. As a designer as well, I've got an eye for that stuff. So immediately when I opened it, I thought, oh, it looks cool. Put it on the shelf. Hold on a minute. Something's slightly off. I can't.
Something's amiss.
Yeah. But no, it's only a tiny criticism. They do look really good. And I can't wait for the McCoy set. It should be here in a couple of weeks, I think.
It should be. Yeah, it was due out before Christmas. Then it got held back. And I think it's been held back by another week. So it's probably the end of Jan now, which is fine, actually, because it gives me something to, you get Christmas, New Year out of the way and you're back to work and you're back into your routine. And it's nice. I keep thinking, end of this month, when I get paid, I can get that McCoy set. It's nice. Something to look forward to. And actually, we'll get a few this year, won't we? We'll have a few new. We've got like the faceless ones coming up on. When's that coming out?
That's March, I think.
March, yeah. I'm a bit gutted actually. I won't be able to attend the BFI screening this year. So the first thing I did once I started work again was try and book off a few conventions and stuff like that. And thought, right, yeah, let's get that BFI weekend booked off because it's the end of Feb, weeks away. Denied.
Oh no!
Can't have it off. No, my manager's on holiday. He's like, no, sorry, dude. I don't know. I can't remember where he's going, but yeah, I've already got that. I've got 2 weeks off at the end of Feb. Sorry, you can't have that. I'm like, oh, I nearly swore there. I was like, I was properly like, what? I was thinking it's 2 months away. That shouldn't be a problem. But no, it's been denied on the Quinix app, so it's officially denied.
Oh no!
I know. I was gutted because also LFCC Spring is that weekend, and I thought, well, I'll probably do the BFI on the Saturday, do Spring on the Sunday, and maybe take the Monday off. So I was going to have like 3 days off, but not going to happen. So yeah.
We'll have to stage an intervention. We'll all storm in the shop and just carry you out.
Yeah, yeah. If you could, that'd be amazing. Yeah, no, I'm a little bit gutted about that, to be honest. But it is what it is. I mean, I'm hoping we'll get quite a few BFI screenings this year. So, hopefully I'll be at the next one, whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah. Are you going to miss anybody at LFCC Spring? Let's have a look. Anyone from Doctor Who? McCoy's there, obviously.
Obviously, Colin must be there.
He's there. Yep, those two. Yeah. Yep. It's just, they probably don't even have to ask him anymore.
Coffee shop, don't they? They don't even go home. They're just like, well, we may as well stay till next year. Yeah.
Well, they probably just pop them on the website before they've even confirmed it with them. Like, they'll be there. Don't worry. Tosin Cole's going to be there.
Yeah, I saw Tosin. He's on the Saturday only, I think. So, yeah.
Yeah. Noel Clark.
Oh, that's the one I wanted to get, Noel. Oh, is he Saturday only as well?
Noel Clark is Saturday only. Yeah.
So I can't get him. That's a shame because I would have liked to have got Mickey. Yeah.
Yeah, Camille's there. Catelyn Blackwood, who played the young
Amy Pond.
Yeah. What's her face is there? What's her face? And Jeannie Mahindra is there.
From
Rani.
Sarah Jane.
Rani, yeah.
Yeah. What day is she there?
She is there on Saturday only.
On the Saturday only. Because the reason I asked that is because my boss did say, he's like, I'm really sorry I can't give you that time off, but I was like, all right. But he did say there was a slight chance I might get the Sunday. He said, you might be able to have the Sunday if so-and-so could work it. So I was thinking, okay, I'll have a look to see who's at LFCC on the Sunday. Maybe I'll just do the Sunday. And everyone I want to meet is only doing Saturday. Oh, my God.
Well, Fraser Hines and Wendy Padbury are there on Sunday.
Yeah, which is cool. The only thing is I've met them. Yeah, I've met them before. Yeah. And I mean, they are actually, I absolutely love Fraser and Wendy as well. I absolutely love both of them, but I've met them before. So yeah, probably, although it'd be nice to get a duo shot with them, Jamie and Zoe.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Fraser was great the last time at LFCC. I had a really good laugh with him at his table. Just a bit of bants. I can't remember what he was saying, and I was like, "Easy, McCrimmon," and he laughed. And I love Fraser. He's a really nice guy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So,
yeah, dude, I'm gonna have to go though. for a slightly different reason, I'm going to have to take this opportunity to meet Ian McDiarmid before he dies.
Oh,
I'm not making the same mistake I did with Peter Mayhew.
Oh no!
No.
Do you think Ian will be on on this big crane, sort of being lifted in like the Emperor, like that big claw?
Yeah, just dragged along by his shoulders. Yeah. So he's got a photo shoot, which is kind of cool. So gonna have a photo with him. I know what will happen. I'll be like, I'll catch him at the summer one, and then there'll be a news article. Ian McDiarmid suffered a heart attack or something, and not that I wish that. I'm a bit morbid, but I just, I had that with Peter Mayhew year after year. I was like, I'll get him next year, and then, bosh.
That is the thing, yeah. That's the curse of the blimmin' LFCC, that is. I mean, look at poor old Adam West, announced and then died a month after being announced. Yeah. I'll tell you who I do regret not meeting last year, and I think it was because he clashed with someone. It wasn't that I sort of thought, oh, shall I, shan't I? I wanted to meet him, but he clashed, his photo shoot clashed. And that is Sasha, and how do you say his name? Dwani. Our new, and spoilers here, if you haven't watched Spyfall, spoilers, but our new master was at LSCC last year.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to meet him because obviously he was in Adventure in Space and Time. And I thought, I'll go and get him. That'd be a good one to get because I got David Bradley. It'd be nice to have him as well. And I think his photo shoot clashed with someone I'd already got, so I didn't get him.
Oh, okay.
Well, of course, now it's like he's going to be double the price, isn't he? And, a lot more popular. But yeah, that would have been, I do regret that. I remember walking past his table as well as we were walking around thinking, there's Sasha. I might go and get his auto. But me being blimmin' OCD stupid, I was like, but if I can't get a photo with him, I don't know if I want his, I always do silly things like that. I like to get both auto and photo, and I didn't do it. And I regret it now. But there you go. I reckon he'll do some more, though.
I would say that off the back of Doctor Who, he will definitely do some more.
Somebody told me, I was trying to work out last night as well, somebody told me that Doctor Who actors aren't allowed to do conventions while they're contracted to the show. Because people were saying, maybe Ryan's going to cop it in Series 12 because he's doing LSCC Spring. But I was thinking, I don't know if that's true. So I was trying to work out if any actor had sort of been at a convention like LFCC whilst still being in the show, if you see what I mean. So I was sort of thinking maybe Sasha can't do it at the minute because he's in the show. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I was trying to think it through, thinking, is that true? Can Jodie, for example, not appear at a convention unless it's BBC because she's contracted?
I don't think that's true.
No, I'll tell you, I know who would know. I'll tell you who'd know. Martin Badwell, he'd know.
Oh, Marty, yeah.
I'll have to message, he'd know.
Martin,
he knows these.
Get on the Twitter, please, or something.
Hang on, I'll WhatsApp him. Martin, kisses.
Because we had What's Her Face appear at LFCC a couple of times, and she was current in the Capaldi series.
Missy?
Yeah.
Ah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That is a very good point. So, okay.
What's her face? What's her name?
You can't keep saying, here, I'll what's her face. You sound like Wurzel. Michelle Gomez.
Michelle Gomez, yeah. She was actively in Who. She was at LFCC for a couple of years running, I think.
That's true. Yeah. She was proper bonkers. I met her. She was great, actually. Really, as you'd expect, a little bit scary as well, because you sort she's not like Missy, but she's got that real crazy edge to her when you meet her. She's really fun. Yeah. And she often wears those sort of strange bunny ears, doesn't she, as well? She's just a bit crackers. Love it.
It's funny also that on the Showmasters website for the Comic-Con Spring, that they've now removed all of the wording that said... Remember when they first did this? Was it 2 years ago? They first launched the spring version. And they said that it was a quieter, more relaxed feeling that gives you like a spring, as the name suggests, I suppose.
Yeah,
it's got a double meaning, like not just the time of year, but like a springboard into the main one. But they've removed all the wording from that now. Because I remember last year's spring one, it was just mayhem. Like it may as well just been, as full on as the summer one. It was so busy. So they've removed all the stuff from there, and I think they've got a ton more guests that they're likely to announce because there's a fair few on there already. But they've got loads from like Game of Thrones, Harry Potter. Some other Star Wars people. Oh, Dan Stark is there as well, mate. If you want to meet Dan. Yeah, he's there on Sunday only. So you're in luck there.
Oh, I've met Dan.
Oh.
No, he's not one on my list.
Yeah, I would suggest staying at home, mate.
Well, I'll probably be working, but there was
take
was
the
this
day
option.
off. Yeah, stay at home.
Oh, I see what you mean. Just stay at home.
Have a day off, proper day off.
I should be going to Mr. BFI. I must admit, I do absolutely love those events. But yeah. Oh well, I'll catch the next one. See what happens.
Well, as long as I don't get arrested, I'll live stream it for you. I can't imagine I'll be too happy with my mobile out recording in the cinema, but
brilliant.
What they don't know.
That'd be good. So what have you? I know what you've been up to. You better just tell the listeners before we crack on. You've been jet setting, and you've been to a location which I'm very, very envious of. I know it's not Doctor Who, but it's an iconic location that you visited since we last recorded.
Yeah. So over Christmas, me and the fam, we had our Christmas break.
Oh, you're not using that word, are you?
Oh, crikey. Have I fallen into the trap of,
Bam.
Yes.
Somehow it didn't sound so bad when you said it, yeah.
Me and the wife and the offspring, we had our Christmas break. We went to New York last year. Sounds weird saying last year. It's only a couple of weeks ago.
No.
Yeah. Christmas, we went to New York and it was really cool. Didn't do anything Doctor Who related because, actually I did. And one thing really annoyed me as well about Doctor Who in America. So anybody that's ever been there or lived there, or what any of our US listeners will know, that just the sheer amount of advertising on television in America is insane.
Oh yeah, they have one after the opening credits to a TV show, don't they?
Yeah, it's bonkers.
Yeah,
and but the thing that annoyed me a lot was that they had a Doctor Who marathon on BBC America. But BBC America is not the same as the BBC here. So anyone that doesn't know, all of our listeners that are not in the UK, the BBC channel here is funded by us. So they don't have any advertising. So when a program starts, you watch it from start to finish. There's no breaks. Lovely. BBC America are obviously different. So the first 45 seconds of Doctor Who started, and then there's some adverts. And then it comes back and it's on for 3 minutes and then there's adverts. And it's like that all the way bloody through.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, this is great. So a bit of downtime when we're in the hotel, I can stick, because they were doing a full-on, I think I had this a couple of years ago when we were in Canada, actually. There was a really cool channel there and they had a Doctor Who marathon. So it was a similar vibe. But in that channel in Canada, only had one set of adverts in the middle. It wasn't too bad. But I thought, I'd stick that on because I watched a bunch of Tennant episodes, and then they went on to Matt Smith's. There was a bunch of that as well. It was all good, but just the freaking adverts. I was like, my wife turned to me and she went, "I can't handle this." She went, "I just cannot handle." Because the other thing as well, and I don't mean to offend any of our US listeners, but the style of advertising in the US is so cheesy. It just does your head in. You can't get into the story. I don't know how they watch it over there. It's like you're just getting into the story. You're getting comfortable, and then the adverts come on again, and the adverts last for 3 minutes as well. It's just bloody terrible. So I was like, after sort of day 2 or day 3, I was like, no, I can't watch any more BBC America. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it just does my head in. So that's the only thing Doctor Who related I did. And the location that you mentioned was the Ghostbusters Firehouse. Out in Tribeca in New York. So it's somewhere that I've always wanted to go to, but I didn't get to go there the last time we were there. So it was really cool to go and see that. And we were lucky as well, as we were sort of a minute after we got there, the fire truck for that fire station pulled up, and they used the Ghostbusters logo in everything as well. So on the front of the fire truck, there was a Christmas wreath, and it had the Ghostbusters logo in the middle.
Oh, cool!
And they've got the old Ghostbusters 2 sign hanging up, which they used in the film, which is really good. But surprisingly, they've got a swag shop in there as well. So as I was taking some pics out the front, one of the firefighters was like, "If you're interested, we sell a load of hoodies and T-shirts, which is Ghostbusters theme." So it was just really cool, mate. And it was just. It's a lot smaller than what you think it is based on the film. Yeah. So I thought it was going to be this massive, like huge 5-story building, it looks like, and the doors are massive, but it's actually quite a small little building. So it was really, really cool to see. So that's one of those bucket list things checked off the list. It's like, done that one now. It's all good. So yeah. So other than that, mate, not much Doctor Who related stuff in NYC. And then when I got home for New Year, nothing much really. Just looking forward to, like you said, the the McCoy set that's coming on the way.
Did you get to watch Skyfall? Were you back? So did you get to watch Skyfall live or?
Yeah, I was back home by that point.
Skyfall. Did I say Skyfall? You keep
did,
saying
yeah.
the right thing. Yeah, you got to watch it live.
Yeah, I was back home. Yeah.
Yeah, because I thought I was going to be working because I often work weekends. I thought, I'll probably have to watch it when I get in and I'll have to avoid. But I actually amazingly got that Sunday off. I couldn't believe it.
Oh, nice.
No, Wednesday, wasn't it? It was the New Year's Day. What am I talking
On the
about?
Wednesday.
Yeah, so I actually got New Year's Day off and was a little bit hungover, but it was great. Yeah, I sort of the build up to it actually was quite good. I was sort of all day looking at my watch thinking, oh, it's nearly 5 to 7. So yeah, it's nice. So I got to watch it live as well. Yeah, I was just chuffed about that because I work sort of every day pretty much. It can be every day. I thought, I bet I'm working.
Yeah.
But I got to watch it live. Yeah,
that's awesome, mate. Yeah.
Well, it was, because I got, especially with the ending, I got to sort of go straight on my phone and check out the reaction to it and stuff. And it wouldn't have been the same if I was doing that after work. So yeah, that was pretty awesome, really.
Oh, nice, mate. That's good. Yeah. And then we had part 2 on Sunday. Were you home to watch that on Sunday?
Yeah, that's why I was getting confused because I actually had Sunday off as well. I was so I actually got to watch both of them live, which is really good. Which won't be the case, I don't think. Now we're sort of getting back into sort of normality in terms of work and hours and shifts. But I actually got to watch both live, which I wasn't expecting to be able to do. But I'm really glad I did. Yeah.
Oh, cool. That's very cool. Yeah, because it'd be gutted if like the first story of the new series and you saw like Twitter and Facebook going nuts with stuff and you're like, I haven't seen it.
Well, and also without jumping ahead too much, I wasn't expecting there to be so much to talk about, if you know what I mean. I was surprised at the amount of, there was quite a lot that could have been spoiled, which I wasn't expecting. I knew there'd be something, but I wasn't expecting there to be quite as much as we got.
Right.
So yeah. But obviously I'll get into that when we get to review. But let's put it this way: I'm glad I didn't have to avoid spoilers for a couple of hours before watching it. Yeah, felt like part of that.
Yes. Yep.
The live watching crew, if you like. Yeah, we've all seen it. Let's go mad, sort of thing. I was part of that, rather
Event
than
TV.
the sort of aftermath, if you like. Yeah. Yeah, Event TV. Yeah.
Which is what Doctor Who should be, really.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Well, I think because of sort of the way Series 11 went and stuff, I wasn't expecting it to be as much as it was, if you know what I mean. I thought, there'll probably be something that we're all talking about, but I wasn't expecting it to be what we got and the explosion afterwards. So, glad I got to be a part of that.
Oh, nice, mate. Yeah, cool. Right, I think we've waffled for long enough.
Yeah.
Let's get this show cracking and rolling on to
the
next bit. Shall we land the TARDIS and see what news there is?
Indeed.
Talking of Doctor Who being on the telly box, the UK streaming service BritBox kicked off a few months ago, or a couple of months ago. And I signed up, as soon as it landed, I signed up because I thought, right, I want to check out to see what Doctor Who they've got on there. And disappointingly, there was no classic Doctor Who.
Oh.
And I thought, because I was pretty sure that because BritBox has been a thing over in the US for a couple of years now. And
that's it? Oh, right, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And they've had classic Doctor Who there and everything. So I thought, I know it's wrong to assume, but I thought, okay, it's launching here, we'll have that. But they didn't have any, it just had the Eccleston onwards stuff. So I cancelled my subscription. But then I saw some stuff on Twitter to say that, nope, classic Doctor Who is being added to the library. It's just going to be a little while. So on Boxing Day, they added a ton of classic Doctor Who to the catalogue. And BritBox, by the way, it's a streaming service in the same kind of vein as Netflix and Amazon Prime and that kind of thing. But it's a joint venture between the BBC and ITV here in the UK. So it's got all of the current stuff that's going out between those two channels. It's also got a big back catalogue of all the old stuff from both those channels. And then I think they're going to be putting newer stuff as it comes out on there as well. So if for any reason you don't have a TV license and you don't watch live TV, you rely just on digital services like Netflix and stuff, I think they're going to start putting just new programming on there as well. So that's quite cool. So all of the, I'll say all, not all of it. So from Boxing Day, when they added it all on there, there's over 600 episodes of classic Doctor Who on there now, made up of all of the classic Doctors, which is cool. And so, yes, 129 complete stories, which brings the total to 558 of classic stuff, ranging from Hartnell through to McGann. And then you've also got 4 complete stories of the 10th Planet, the Moon Base, the Ice Warriors, and the Invasion, which also have the animated versions like you would see if you bought the Blu-ray or the DVD and so on. It's also got Sharda, and it's also got Power of the Daleks and the Macra Terror, animated stories. So that's all good. Yeah. And they're in HD as well, so it's not too bad. And then you've got some of the, they're called Orphan stories as well. So you've got the Crusade, Galaxy 4, the Space Pirates, and the Celestial Toymaker. That brings the total Doctor Who up to 600. Then you've got the TV movie. You've got An Unearthly Child, the pilot version.
Oh, I love the pilot version.
Which is very cool.
Yeah.
An Adventure in Space and Time in HD. You've got the Underwater Menace, the Wheel in Space, the Web of Fear. And then you've got the spin-off stuff, which is K9 and Company, which is a surprise to put that on there. You've also got some documentaries, More Than 30 Years in a TARDIS and Doctor Who, Doctors Revisited. And that completes the Doctor Who collection. So it's kind of cool that they also threw in there the animated stuff, some of the lost stories, some documentaries. Because they didn't... You would have thought that they would have just done the televised stories and episodes and that's it. So it's pretty cool that they've thrown this in it. And also it's the first time outside of the special box set that was out a few years ago that you can see An Adventure in Space and Time in HD in the UK, because they didn't release that on Blu-ray in the UK.
No, I always think that's really strange, isn't it? That you can buy an inferior version of it, but you can, do you know what I mean? Like, you can watch it on your TV in higher quality than the actual version you can buy. Crazy. Yeah. But I love the fact that they've put More Than 30 Years in the TARDIS on there. I adore that little documentary. If anybody hasn't seen it, just go and watch it. It's absolutely brilliant. It's just got loads of people from the classic era talking about the show. Loads of clips from all the episodes. They filmed special little segments to put in between with Carol Ann Ford and the Daleks on Westminster Bridge, and first time we ever go through the TARDIS doors into the concert. It's so much love went into that documentary. I love it. So I'm really pleased they put that on there for anyone that hasn't seen it. It's brilliant. It's cool,
yeah. They also say that they're going to be doing like sort of unique box sets or collections on there. One that's coming up soon is called New to Who, and that's going to feature a key episode from each of the first 7 Doctors as an introduction to Doctor Who if you've not seen Classic Who before. And then they're going to do further collections, which will be things like the Cybermen collection, Daleks, the Master collection, each getting their own thing. And then there's going to be regeneration episodes going to be in one collection as well. So they're doing some really cool stuff on there. And it's going to be, in the UK, it's £5.99 per month.
That's not bad.
So it's not too bad, really. And I think I might re-sign up to this purely because normally when I'm having a look through Netflix and having a swipe around, I normally default back to just a couple of shows that I always watch on there. And Doctor Who's obviously one of them. So I'd like to be able to do that, but with Classic Who as well, which you can't get that on Netflix at the moment. So might have to bin off the old net. Oh, no, there's some cool stuff in it. I don't know. I might sign up for it just because it's lovely. Don't get me wrong. I love my physical media for classic Doctor Who. That's all good. But it is nice to have pretty much the entire library there
at your fingertips
to swipe through and stuff. Yeah, so that's going to be cool. So that's, like I said, that started a couple of months ago. So that's available right now. And now the Doctor Who stuff is all on there as well. So, and they also go on to say that Boxing Day marks the start of a longer-term collaboration with the BBC, with a shared vision of making BritBox the ultimate home of Doctor Who classic content in 2020 and beyond. ensuring the widest collection of content available and presented in the best possible quality and format. So it's pretty good.
That is amazing, isn't it? I think it's brilliant. And I know it's done really well. I saw an article saying, like Doctor Who was outperforming every other show on there or something like that. I don't know if I've got that right, but it's done incredibly well in terms of viewing figures already, which is fantastic. And yeah, it's great for anyone that sort of doesn't have the complete collection and maybe wants to watch stories they haven't got, or there are some episodes, dare I say, that aren't as good as others that they might not want to buy, but they want to watch. So it's just brilliant, isn't it? Like you said, to have it all on there at the touch of, and so yeah, it's just brilliant, really. Yeah, really, really good.
Very cool. Yes.
Yeah, and not a bad price, $5.99.
Basically a £5 a month, £6 a month, about on par with like the other streaming services, I suppose. Yeah.
Cool. Right. Well, in other news, going on to viewing figures, I know people say they don't matter anymore, and in a way that's true, but it's always interesting to get an idea, I think, just to see how we're doing, in terms of viewers. So Doctor Who Spyfall got an average of 4.88 million viewers on the overnights. Obviously, that will go up once they've added on all the other bits and bobs. So it's slightly down on the New Year special we got last year, Resolution, which I think got just over 5 million. But although it sounds slightly low, the thing to sort of take the positive from is that it was the second highest rated show of the day. So although it's a slightly lower figure, it still performed really, really well. It was just beaten by Emmerdale. Ugh.
Crikey.
God, I hate soaps. Anyway, I'm not going to get it. So yeah, and actually it beat Dracula, which was getting, I would say, quite a lot of promotion, which only got 3.57 million people watching. Just out of interest, did you watch Dracula?
I did, yes.
All three?
The first two.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought the first two were brilliant.
Yeah, I've got them recorded, but I need to watch the third one. But
I thought the third one was an absolute mess, and it had Stephen Moffat written all over it, I'm afraid.
Oh, no.
And I like Moffat. I'm not bashing him, but God, yeah. Let me know what you think of the third part, but whew,
yeah,
it wasn't great.
No,
but anyway, back to Doctor Who. Spyfall Part 2 fared about the same, actually. Got 4.6 million viewers in the overnights, and again, that will go up. And for the day, I think it was second watched again, wasn't it? So I think it was just beaten by Dancing on Ice. So it was this week. It was the fifth most popular show on the day. So it was beaten by Dancing on Ice, The Launch, don't even know what that is, and Call the Midwife was the top watch program that day. So yeah, it's a little bit of a shame to hear that it was a bit lower down in the watching rates, but still I think it's a respectable figure. It's would be nice to see it getting a bit more, but yeah, it's still doing quite well in terms of being on the list of watch programs for the day.
Yeah, and I think when they release the final figures, which are out next week, sometime next week, when they collate all of the figures, not just the overnights, I think it will tell a different story. But
yeah,
we've had worse figures, put it that way.
Yeah, no, I think they're okay. As I said, I know we shouldn't get too hung up on overnight figures these days and stuff like that. But it's lower. Viewing figures just in general seem to be going down across the board. So don't think it's anything to worry about. It'd be nice to see them pick up a little bit, and maybe after this two-parter, which seems to have got a very positive reaction online, maybe that'll bring a few viewers back. Hopefully,
yeah, hopefully, mate. Yeah, that's all we got for news. No other important bits knocking around. I would assume that now that Series 12 is actively on the telly, there's not going to be a huge amount coming out in terms of news. I imagine when Series 12 is done and dusted, then we'll start. Actually, no, I think when Series 12 is finished, we'll have some news immediately after that. But I think then we're going to slowly drift into the rest of the lull for the new year.
Yeah, it's one thing that's in the back of my mind as well. I keep thinking this, so when this ends in the middle of Feb, what have we're not going to have another year's wait, are we? Well, like, what is going on in terms of production of Series 13? I keep thinking this, like, when's Series 13? Like, I don't know. Because obviously it feels like we've built the train's built up, but we've started the train rolling again. Is it going to be parked up for another year? What's going to happen? We don't really know at the minute, do we?
Yeah, I'm not sure. But yes. So like we said earlier, we're expecting to have lots of news and merch, but not as much at the minute. But that's news done. Let's see what Dalek Tat got for us.
Merch corner. Merch corner. Merch corner.
It's a bit rubbish, but it's pretty. It's very pretty.
Well, there you are, young man. What do you think of that now, eh? A Viking helmet.
I know, it's on the telly. It's everywhere.
I don't know whether to be impressed or disgusted.
I work in a shop now. It'd help.
Just one thing dropped very rudely on the floor.
Yeah, he hasn't improved with age, has he, old Dalek Tat? Another year and just more and more grumpy.
Well, through our Christmas and New Year break, we had a couple of weeks off. You'd have thought he would have recouped and sorted his attitude out, but clearly not.
He's been waiting by the phone for Chibnall to ring him. I think that's what it is. He's I keep seeing him just waiting by that phone.
Yeah, I keep telling him he's washed up.
The Daleks aren't in it anymore. Chibnall said.
The Daleks are so last year.
Yeah.
I wonder if we're going to see a Daleks in this one. They've not been shown, have they, yet?
Well, no, there wasn't. There was a couple of leaked photos of things. I'm not going to say too much, but I don't know. Just don't know.
Yeah, because we still don't know what's going on with this mythical contract, do we? The Terry Nation thing that the Daleks have to appear in at least one episode in every... I don't know if that's still a thing, but who knows? Anyways, Dalek Tat has thrown a Doctor Who joke book, believe it or not. This is the standard.
Is this official merch?
This is official Doctor Who merch. This is
goodness.
The standard we're working with now. So no cool behind the scenes books that you see for like cool franchises these days. No, the art of Doctor Who books that are very popular. None of that stuff. None of these really cool from script to screen. All of those really amazing books that you see. No, for Doctor Who, we get the Doctor Who joke book. And the tagline on the front is "Knock knock, who's there?" joke book. One of them being, which I saw on the Doctor Who merch.
Oh, I've been waiting for this ever since I saw it on it. Go on.
Time travel. When do we want it? That's irrelevant. Ah, dear. So, if jokes
that's the one that they looked through the whole book. Yeah. They thought, now which one do we want to put to entice people in to get this? I've got it.
Oh God! Right, so
it could have been worse. It could have been knock knock. Who's there? Doctor Who. You just said it. It could have been that.
I love the description, the synopsis. That I don't know if this is final, but this is the synopsis that they've put out for the Doctor Who joke book. Doctor Who is the longest running sci-fi show in the world and a flagship BBC property. First appearing on air in 1963, it follows the adventures of a doctor, a Time Lord who travels through time and space, fighting alien monsters and saving the universe. Series 11 of Doctor Who hit the screens in October 2018 with Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor, the first female actor to take on the role, and has already seen record viewing figures. Nothing to do at all with the jokes in the book. It's just a very generic snippet that the BBC have given whoever the publisher is to stick in there, so it doesn't look blank at the moment.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, and then the sub bit of blurb. It says, packed with a dimensionally transcendent TARDIS load amount of jokes, gags, and riddles. This is the official Doctor Who joke book. Remember, it's funnier on the inside.
Oh my God. Oh my word. Oh dear. Just when I thought it couldn't get any worse. And it is official. It's got the little penguin book thingy mark on it. And oh my God, the cover is atrocious as well, if that's the actual. Yeah. I'm shocked. It's only $5.99, thank goodness.
Yeah. It's out in July, 23rd of July. You can pre-order it on Amazon now. The only useful thing this book will ever be good for is when you're drunk and then you say to your people, let's pull out the Doctor Who joke book. And then you say a few of them and then you put it away again.
Yeah. I'm going to pass on this one. Might ask for it for Christmas next year as a stocking filler. This is not for me. It's funny because you're saying about the state of the merch as well. And I was in the Works bookshop yesterday, which is a sort of, for anyone that doesn't live in the UK, it's a sort of bargain basement of where all the books go that get unsold, and then they get sold off for like a couple of quid each. But they do get the odd bit of new merch every now and again that you can't get anywhere. And there was a Doctor Who game in there called Race to the TARDIS or something, or Race to the Centre of the TARDIS.
Oh, the board game.
Board game, yeah. And I was like, oh, well, God, it's the first time I've seen it in a shop. So of all the places it was in the works, already reduced. So it's got like the 13th Doctor on the front, a TARDIS, and then they've sort of put the other Doctors on it and stuff. And I was just sort of like, I don't know, it caught my eye, obviously. And I was thinking, I haven't actually seen this in hand before. So I was having a look at it. I thought, shall I get it? Because, it's Doctor Who. And no, I think I'll leave it. I'm not sure. It was 15 quid. I thought, no, I'm not too sure about that. Because when I looked at the picture on the back, it looked very basic. It's just a board with some little cut-out figures of the Doctors that you stand up on it and stuff. So I tweeted a picture of it yesterday, just saying, I saw this in the works and was thinking of getting it. I'm not too sure. And people were like, is that official? I'm like, yeah, that is an official piece of merch. Because it it really does look terrible. Like the cover and the art and it looks so cheap and unofficial. And sorry to anyone that's got it, because it might be a really fun game. But I just don't know who is approving these things. Because Doctor Who merch, do you remember we had this conversation a year or two back where we talked about Doctor Who merch and how they used to be very careful who they gave the license to, didn't they? They would be really strict about, no, you can't have it. And who was that company you said deserved it? And the BBC took them ages to actually allow them to do merch. Wasn't who was that? It wasn't like Kid Robot.
It was Funko.
Funko, was
years ago. Yeah, because Funko had approached the BBC for a few years to get the license, and they said no.
Yeah.
And then one, I don't know, money, I suppose. They changed their mind and did it.
Yeah, they used to be really strict on it, didn't they? But now we seem to have gone the other way. They'll just give it to anybody. We'll have 13th Doctor toilet roll soon. But I don't know. I'm sure there'll be, fingers crossed, there'll be some good stuff on the way. I mean, the thing I'm most excited for out of all the merch I've seen advertised recently is, the Doctor Who figurine collection I buy. So you get a little figure in a magazine, comes out fortnightly, I think. Right. Because I just get it from FP. So they are finally doing the Naimon figure. Yeah. And he looks blimmin' awesome. When I saw this, I was like, that's the thing I've got most excited about recently. I can't wait for that to come out whenever it is. It's not for a couple of months, I don't think. But
how many Naimons have you seen today?
3. Tall Adam was like, how many are you going to buy? I was like, well, obviously 3. But that's a quality piece of merch. But
you meddlesome hussy.
You meddlesome hussy. The only other thing I've spotted recently is that they're doing. I remember when BBC Shop did this. I don't know who's doing it now. Forbidden Planet and Hot Topic, I think it is. They're doing the T-shirts that tie in. So they do one for each episode from the new series. So they did that, I think, with BBC Shop a couple of years ago in the Capaldi era, was it?
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. So, for example, for Spyfall Part 1, they did one of Jodie and the Tux. Mm-hmm. And these are all sort of printed to order, aren't they? So they're sort of... Yep. Yeah. So this week's one, they've done the How to Land a Plane test card. You can get that printed on a T-shirt. That's quite a good idea. I quite like this idea. I mean, I'm not going to get either of those, but I think it's a cool idea to do these sort of episode-specific T-shirts that are printed, limited prints, if you like. So I'm sort of looking forward to seeing what comes out for each episode. I think that's quite a nice idea.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, and you can get them from FP, so or Hot Topic, whichever, if you live in the US. So yeah, that's quite cool. But that's the only other bit of merch that sort of caught my eye recently.
Yeah, talking of merch, mate, when I was in New York, I went to this really cool comic book shop called Midtown Comics.
Mm.
Not a scrap of Who in there, mate.
Oh, really?
Well, that's a lie. Of course, they had some Funko Pops, those bloody things.
Oh, of course they do, yeah.
But nothing else did.
Mm.
Nothing else at all.
Yeah, it's a bit sad, isn't it? Yeah.
Anyways, the joke book. Knock, knock, who's there?
Doctor.
Knock, knock, who's there?
Who's there?
Oh, I read you. It's got a little Cyberman on the front going, ha, ha. Crikey. Yes, July. Anyways, there you go. Jokes are your thing, July this year. Be able to pick that up.
Dalek Tat's liking it. Look, he's laughing away. His little lights are going. He likes it because we don't like it. So he thinks it's funny.
Idiot.
Take it away.
Get out of here. I was going to say something rather rude then. And I realise we're a PG.
We are a family. I know. I nearly swore it. I've got to remember we're a family podcast.
Listeners, I cannot tell you the amount of times where we've been recording and then beep. Oh crap! We're going to have to redo that bit.
Yeah.
Anyways, review time, dude.
Yes, the Doctor is back. Was it worth the wait? Was it good? Was it bad? Was there progression? Let's find out in our review of Spyfall parts 1 and 2.
Crisis. Big crisis. Serious crisis. Big, serious crisis. Kisses. It's quite French, that, isn't it?
Over the past week, there's been a spate of attacks on intelligence officers worldwide, of every nationality. We need your help, Doctor.
I didn't know things could get into the TARDIS like that. Neither did I.
What have you brought here, Doctor?
I don't know. Get away from them!
When I arrange for your death, I expect you to stay dead.
Little chaos is a wonderful thing.
No exit strategy in the unknown. All hope lost.
Welcome to the end of your lives.
No. Spyfall. Parts 1 and 2. This is the first television or multi-part television story that's been given the same title since the end of time.
Oh yes, I hadn't even twigged that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So after a long wait, and after, if you guys want to hear our thoughts on Series 11, then they're obviously, those episodes back a year ago, roughly. Go and check them out. So Spyfall, obviously, an obvious take on the James Bond thing. The security of the entire world is at stake, according to MI6. So the top, the head honcho, I think his name is C, MI6, contacts the Doctor and says that a load of spies and operatives have been targeted over the past however long. And a former, he wants to send them off to investigate Daniel Barton, who is the head of a kind of social media technology company, VOR. And along the way, they get separated. Ryan and Yaz go off to investigate Mr. Barton, while the Doctor and Graham go off to go and see another agent who has been stranded out in the Australian outback called O. He's a former agent. And as the story moves along, we find out that there are these alien creatures that are snatching people and taking them to another realm or dimension, whatever. It's a little bit timey-wimey, and then the Doctor is really trying to figure out what's going on with those aliens, because the focus seems to be on them. But in the background, pulling the strings, it turns out that a certain person is back who has been manipulating everything. And O turns out to be the Master.
Mm.
And the Doctor enlists the help of a few kind of iconic figures in history to rescue people. And then they all sort of come together at the end, and we'll get into more details, but that's like the crux of the story.
Mm-hmm.
So, Spyfall, mate. Hit me. Hit the listeners. What do you reckon?
Right. Well, it's clear from this two-parter that Chibnall has massively upped his game, which I'm very pleased to see. There's no doubt watching this. I've watched it twice now. I watched it both parts back to back last night, just to sort of really let it sink in. Because there's a lot to take in with this. It's a bit like the new Star Wars film. There's an awful lot to take in. So I watched it again last night, and yeah, you can just tell Chibnall was thought, right, let's do this. You know, it feels like he's grabbing it a bit by the horns and going with it, which I'm very pleased to see. I went into it with a bit of trepidation, I'll be honest, because after Series 11, which I found very hit and miss, I was really excited, obviously, for a new series of Doctor Who, but I also had a lot of concerns. Was Jodie ever going to click with me as the Doctor? Were the fam going to get some progression in terms of their characters? Were the stories going to be good? Was there going to be anything that felt Doctor Who about it in terms of exploring the Doctor's past? A lot of things going on in my mind as we got onto the first part of this. To my amazement, a lot of the things I was worried about were dealt with over the course of this two-parter. Because I thought Chibnall might start to sort of do a few of these things, but he's really seems to have gone for it straight away. And maybe that's because this series, I think, has only got 10 episodes, isn't it?
I think so.
Or is it 10 and a special? Slightly shorter run, I think, the series. So maybe he just thought, right, come on. I've set up what I wanted to do with Series 11. We've got the team rocking and rolling. Let's do this. That's how it feels to me from this two-parter. So I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed both parts. I thought part one was better in terms of an actual episode, whereas part two felt a little bit messy to me in places. I still really enjoyed it. And obviously, I thought the last 10 minutes were fantastic with all the stuff on Gallifrey. There was a lot of stuff surprised me over this two-parter. The Master reveal, I may have been in the minority, but I didn't see that coming at all. I was actually floored by it. I thought when he said, Spy Master, come on, Doctor, catch up. I was like, no way, really? I didn't see it coming at all. I was really, really blown away by that ending to part one. Really, yeah, I found it an enjoyable episode up to that, but that really topped it off. And then part two, watching it again last night, still a little bit muddled. I don't know, I feel like there's a good story in there that perhaps sort of was just a little bit clunky in places, but it does flow quite nicely as a two-parter. And when she goes back to Gallifrey, I mean, those last 10 minutes are incredible. So yeah, I've got a lot to say, but my overall thoughts are, as a two-parter, I thought this was very good. It did what it needed to do, I think, after a year's break. It certainly upped the ante a lot more than I was expecting. I feel like Chibnall has taken a few risks, and for me, they've paid off. So yeah, a very, very promising start, I'm pleased to say. Yeah. That's my thoughts. Right. Over to you.
Right. I think I prefer Series 11, mate.
Oh, what? Oh, you don't.
No, I don't know.
You're doing your thing. I know you're doing your thing.
Yes, I think that... I don't know if this is a combination of Chris Chibnall and the other writer. Oh, I forgot to do the roll call, by the way. This went out on, obviously, the 1st of January, Wednesday, and then concluded on Sunday, the 5th of January. It was written by the Chibbers, and it was directed by Jamie Magnus Stone and Lee Haven-Jones, so a tag team director there, directing effort. And it stars the current crew and a pretty sizable supporting cast. Anyways, I don't know if it's a combination of this was always Chris Chibnall and the other writer's intention, in that when they were going through the motions with Series 11, in their minds and on their notes or whatever, they thought, right, after Series 11, it's time to get down to business. Mm-hmm. And we're going to include this, and this, and we're going to really smash it. Or if it was a case of, right, the fan feedback from Series 11 has been this, so we clearly need to address these things. So I don't know if it was a combination of those things or one or the other, I'm not sure, but it's clear to me that they have listened to a lot of fan reaction. I'm not talking, when I say fan reaction, I mean sort of genuine criticism, constructive criticism, not just, a bunch of people on Twitter saying it sucks with nothing to back up what they're saying. I'm talking about listening to like the heart of the matter, to whether that's the story, that the quality of the writing and how the stories were constructed, or Jodie's performance and how they write for her, that kind of thing. It's clear that they've definitely changed that, how they do things in respect to those things. So I honestly thought, mate, that it was just it was like a crack, got back to like the days when there was a bit of mystery involved. There was a twist in there. There was a cliffhanger. There was, the Doctor really getting stuck in, and not just so. Some of the complaints that we had about Jodie in Series 11 was that she was a little bit, the humour was just a bit full on at times, and it was just a bit kind of kiddie. She came across as a bit like just childish with things, not in the same way that like Troughton or Matt Smith used to do things, but just in a more sort of childish kind of way that didn't really work sometimes. But the humor's been refined a bit more. It's a bit more, it's a bit sharper, which is really good. Not as much use of the sonic, which is great, and it just felt like a good old fashioned adventure story. From Doctor Who, it felt like we're back to intrigue, just wondering what's going on. It's not the only, we'll get onto it in a little while, but my only one little nitpick with it that really stood out was that they still, I think this might be Chibbers, but he still does this thing where he gets the Doctor to explain everything that's going on. There's like this exposition scene where we have like 4 or 5 minutes where it's just the Doctor explaining what's happened and what's going to happen. So other than that, everything else is fine-tuned and the writing's a lot better, and just like Series 11, the quality of the production is just amazing. Like Series 11, it looks
outstanding.
Yeah, the audio is fantastic. It looks brilliant. So overall, mate, really happy with how Series 12 has kicked off. I think it was a great story, and I do think that Chibbers tried to do stuff with Series 11 that didn't quite pan out. I think he tried to step too far away from the classic characters and formulas that had worked before and tried to do something. You got to have respect for that, but you can tell that that's been addressed because we've got Gallifrey back, we've got the Master back. Those things, he's kind of like, right, we need to bring back some stuff that we missed in Series 11. The fans are eager to maintain those classic formulas. So overall, mate, cracking.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I think straight away as well, I think one of the things that was missing for me personally in Series 11 a lot of the time was the threat level. Like you never felt like a lot of the baddies turned out to be, sometimes it turned out to be goodies, or they weren't actually bad people, or they were very easily defeated, and there was very little threat in Series 11. You never felt like the Doctor was coming up against something big or something she couldn't handle. Whereas straight away in this two-parter, just putting her against the Master, quite an unhinged Master as well, and also the light creatures, whatever they were called, what were they? The
Kasavi.
Visabi, yeah. Because I was convinced they were going to be Cybermen just because of the way they walked. For at some point they're going to fully form and they're going to be Cybermen. That's what I kept thinking. It's going to be the Master and the Cybermen, but that never happened. But I'm quite glad about that, to be honest. I think we've had enough of the Master pairing up with Cybermen and stuff. So, but yeah, just like you said, it seems like it's homed in a bit more, brought a lot more of that sort of fear factor back. It's made Jodie step up, I think, as well, having, her play against a good villain. It's brought out a lot more in her performance, I think, for the better. And I agree about the exposition, especially watching it again last night. There's a bit at the end of episode 2 where she's thinking through what the baddie's plan is, and she's just explaining it so blatantly and I thought that's where Chibnall's writing does fall down a bit. It's like he feels like, right, I've got to explain what's going on. I'll get the Doctor to tell the audience. He does that a lot. So she's like, oh, boom, yes, I know what it is. They're doing that, and we're going to do this. And I think, oh, God, it's a bit, it goes on a bit. But like you said, I think that's probably the only thing I would sort of pick fault at, really. Yeah, I just thought, sorry, my phone's just gone. Yeah, I think overall it was a really good improvement. The thing that I'm thinking in my head, though, is just going back to what you just said. So Chibbers, obviously, like I said, he's a lifelong Doctor Who fan. This is what I've always thought is if you're given the show you've always wanted to do, you must have already got these ideas of what you would do with it. We all do it. Like if I was given Doctor Who to make or you were given it, you've over years, you love this show. You've formulated things you would love to do. So Series 11, he obviously set up. He wanted to have a bit of a fresh slate. That's understandable. I think every showrunner wants to do that. So he did that. And then the second series, is he now doing what he wanted to do? Or is he doing what he thinks the fans want? You know what I mean? Because I'm thinking, was Series 11 what he wanted to do? Or was that just getting it into a place where he could then do what he wanted to do? Or did he do Series 11 and think, no, but the fans want Gallifrey. Oh, I better put that. You know what I mean? Where is he sort of in his head? That's what I'm intrigued by. And to be honest with you, there's no win-win answer. There's no losing answer to that. Whichever he's doing, for me, it's working. I'm just intrigued. Is this the Doctor Who he wants to make? Or is it the Doctor Who he thinks he's got to make? Do you know what I mean? I think it's probably the Doctor Who he wants to make, because I think Chibnall, from what we've seen, is doing what he wants to do, whether we like it or not. Like the female Doctor, he knew that was going to cause a ripple, but he did it. So I'm thinking in my head, hopefully this is the Doctor Who that he wants to make. He just needed to get to this point to do it. That's what I'm hoping anyway. It feels like that to me.
Yeah, I think there's an element of both in there.
Yeah.
Because I think with Series 11, he did, obviously as showrunner, he had like the overriding kind of vision, I suppose, of what he wanted to do with the show, and then drafted in a load of writers to bring that to life along with his own writing. So I think he did kind of do what I think just with Series 11, he just got lost a little bit with being too concerned on not treading old ground over old ground again. I think that's why he was very keen to introduce new monsters and new villains and not just go down the same route of like this week it's Cybermen, this week it's Daleks, this week it's, you know. So, but I think he just concerned himself too much with that and held on too tight. So I think this series, especially in the trailer that we saw before Christmas, where we do see a Cyberman and now we know the Master's back and there's this whole thing around Gallifrey, it feels like he's not so concerned with that anymore. It's like, okay, well, let's just accept the fact that although we try to do something new with Who, which worked to an extent, we just have to, you know, everyone has to just realise that these monsters and these themes that have been in the show since the beginning are iconic for a reason. So let's not be so harsh in sort of keeping them at the door. Let's embrace that and let's make some cool stories around those things, which you can tell because it's like it hits you in the face, doesn't it? It's like when the Master, there's that scene when they're on top of the Eiffel Tower and the Master's explaining, or tries to explain, I suppose, what happened on Gallifrey. Yeah. It's like, whoa. And then, sorry, the bit before that as well, when he's like, he's quite cryptic, where he says everything you thought you knew is a lie. And you thought, oh no, what's going on? And then he mentions Gallifrey. And then at the end where she goes to Gallifrey and she sees the destruction and everything, it's like, crikey. It's like, you know, it's blatant that Chibbers and the rest of the team there are like, look, you wanted, and we wanted to give you some classic Who stuff. So now you're going to get it. So don't, you know, we're going to give it to you in spades. I reckon that throughout this series, it's going to be very, very Gallifrey orientated. I think that's going to come up a lot throughout the series. And the other thing I had in my mind as well was I wonder how often the Master's going to appear in this series. Are we going to have a situation like we did last time where Tim Shaw rocked up as a potentially a good villain at the beginning and then comes back at the end for the finale. Are we going to have that with the Master now that he's gone? Are we not going to see him now until the finale is going to come back? Or is he going to be a regular annoyance for the Doctor throughout the series? But
yeah, I think it's my gut feeling is he'll come back at the end, but that does feel a little predictable, doesn't it? Like you said, but then again, Tim Shaw had the same feeling. I was like, well, he's going to come back in the final, and he did, and got shot in the toe. So it does feel a bit predictable, but I don't know. My gut feeling is that the Master will pop up in the final, I reckon. But it would be cool if he was just in the background of some of the others, or a bit like Missy, with the Never Spear, when if you just get a little scene of him doing something, you're like, what's he doing? He's there. I don't know. I definitely want to see more of him. That's for sure. I think there is a lot of potential in this Master. I think Sasha is a great choice as the Master.
Oh, crikey. Yeah.
So I definitely would like to see, especially as I keep thinking in the back of my head, this is we've only got like 8 episodes left already.
I know.
So I'm like, what I mean? So I really want these things that are good in this two-parter to be utilised going forward, hopefully. Hopefully those next 8 episodes are going to be belters. Just going back to Chibnall, though, I think, I agree with you. I think if I was Chris Chibnall, I would have looked at series, I'd have gone back and looked at it and thought, right, what did I get right? What did I want to do but didn't get to do? What I hopefully sort of gone back, because that's what I would do. I'd sort of just look and think, right, I really wanted to do that in series 11, but for whatever reason I couldn't, so now I want to try and do that with series 12. That's what I'm thinking, that he's probably just sort of, because like you said, I just wonder how much of this is a plan. Like the Timeless Child stuff, we were quite disappointed that didn't go anywhere in series 11. We thought that was going to be the arc. Has he always had this idea? Or did he think to himself, oh, that Timeless Child line, I never really picked up on that. I know, I could use that. And, has this been his plan all along? Or is he just thinking, right, what can I take from series 11 to move forward in series 12? I don't know. But, I mean, I'm really glad that's been picked up on, by the way. When that was mentioned, that was another OMG moment for me in this. When they said the Timeless Child, it's like, oh, and then we got the flashback. I was like, oh, it does mean something. Yes. Brilliant. That was another great moment. So, yeah, he was kind of hitting all the right points for me in this. I got to say, there was, from the Master reveal to the Timeless Child stuff to the Gallifrey being destroyed, it was all working for me. I've got to say, really hitting it on the nail, pretty much. Anyway, there was a few bits I'll come on to that worried me on a first watch, but kind of softened on a second, but I'll come to that a bit later on. Just before we carry on, I just wanted to ask you something, though. I said the Master reveal totally shocked me. I didn't see it coming at all. Although there were clues, like him saying about, oh, I've got all the Doctor's history up there, and you've got to work out who is the Spy Master and all this. When you watch it back, the clues are there, but I didn't see it coming. But I wondered, did you?
I did not see it coming at all.
Oh, good. I thought it was just me.
However, I've got to give some proper geek points to my wife.
Yeah?
Because, he was on screen for about 4 seconds. And she didn't say that he was the Master, but she said, he's an alien and he's a bad guy. Within 4 seconds. And I thought, huh? Really? She went, yeah, I'm telling you now. That guy is the villain. He's the bad guy. And in my head, I thought, okay. I'm usually, in my head, I thought, no, you're wrong. You're wrong about that one. He doesn't seem at all. But then it panned out. So she didn't know he was the Master, but she called it within a few seconds, mate. So good old geek points to the wife for that one. But me personally, I was really surprised. That scene on the plane where his character starts to turn very quickly. And then the Doctor's face, like her shock when, I think her words were, you can't be. That whole scene was just goosebumps. It was like, holy crap. Because you're right, the clues were there. They were subtly there, but you just didn't expect it, mate, at all.
When he brought out the little matchbox as well, and I was like, oh, the tissue compressors back. Oh my. It was really, as I said, it was just hitting every nail on the head. I was like, oh, this is amazing. I didn't see this coming at all. I'd heard a rumor that Lenny Henry was going to turn out to be the Master. And I don't know if that was just in the back of my mind, because all the way through I was thinking, is he going to turn out to be? Because that's what I'd heard. I was thinking, yeah, they might have made Lenny the Master. Yeah, maybe. But I was expecting that to be a reveal, like at the finale or something, that he come back and he was the Master plotting it or something. So I was a bit on the wrong foot anyway to begin with, which is why you should never listen to rumors. But yeah, that whole scene in the plane when he just switched, and it's almost as if he was waiting for the Doctor to figure it out, wasn't he? Because he seemed almost pleased. It's like, yes, finally, you've realised who I am. It was like the game was up. Because the switch, like you said, was brilliant. I really liked O as a character as well. I was thinking, he's a cool this friend of the Doctor's. He's a cool little character, isn't he? He knows all this stuff. And then when he did the switch, I was like, wow, yeah, brilliant. I just wonder, though, because obviously he's playing it quite unhinged, a bit like Sims Master. Mm-hmm. And I think he's doing it really well. I think that was all really, really good. Loved it. But there's a little bit of me that would just like one of the incarnations to be a little bit more suave and less unhinged.
A bit more Delgado.
Well, I can just think Sasha would be able to do that sort of performance so well. I think it's all well and good having the sort of manic laughter and twitching. That's all good, but I'd love to see him playing it just a little bit like Delgado's Master rather than Sims. Just in certain bits. He can have the mad moments. I'm all for that. I love it. But do you know what I mean? There's part of me that just almost wanted him to be a little bit more sane, if you like, and just a little bit more suave and sinister rather than the sort of manic, twitching, mad laughter, almost Joker-like Master that we've had. Because we kind of had that with Sim. So I was just hoping you'd be a bit more like the Delgado Master, personally, because I think Sasha would be amazing as that sort of just evil but charismatic sort of Master. But yeah, but I'm not criticizing his performance because I thought he was fantastic. I really, really did. But just in the writing, I just thought, it's another sort of slightly Jokerish unhinged Master again, which is all well and good. But wouldn't it be nice if we had a suave? The Delgado Master, but then maybe it needed the unhinged to sort of counterbalance Jodie. I don't know.
Yeah, and maybe we'll see some of that if he does.
I would love to see it.
Yeah, if he does pop up throughout the series and not just in the finale, maybe we'll see. Maybe it was just that kind of excitable, adrenaline-fueled scenes between them because it's the first time in a long time that we've seen the two of them together in that kind of reveal situation. Because I know the Missy reveal was very that was not, I wouldn't say it's like shock factor TV, but that was a decent reveal when we saw Missy as the Master, wasn't it?
Yeah, when she's like, "Well, I can't hardly keep calling myself the Master, could I?" Yeah, I mean,
exactly,
it was a great reveal. Yeah,
so,
it was good. Do you think it's too soon to bring back the Master? That was the other thing that people were saying. No, never too soon.
No, it just cracked. I reckon the longer you, well, don't get me wrong, if there is a merit in that, I think if you rest that character, that's a good thing because you don't want it to be sort of overused. Obviously, you don't want it to be a case of like we've said about some of the monsters, like you mentioned that the Kasavi, you didn't want them to turn out to be Cybermen because that's been done before. It's a bit overused. So there is an argument to say that if you keep using that character too regularly, then the impact it has when they are on screen is not as, you don't feel it as much. But I think I think Jodie as I think Jodie's Doctor needed someone like the Master to elevate the whole show. If that makes, I think now's a good time because if we leave it until series 13, then this series would have been a case of we wouldn't have had the Gallifrey bit to go along with the Master. You know what I mean? So it would have been a case of just almost rinse and repeat from series 11. So I think her Doctor desperately needed somebody like the Master to just like wallop the show back and that's what the fan reaction's been like, hasn't it? If you look on social media, it's been like everyone's loved it in every way.
It's very positive. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So I don't think it hasn't been that long, but I do think now's a good time.
Yeah, it's been quite a turnaround, hasn't it? I mean, it's fair to say there's been a major backlash from Series 11, whether people like it or not. It's really been divisive. There's been quite a big turnaround even after the first part. Twitter is not a place that gets much positivity. I saw very little negativity after episode 1. Everything was, in fact, I don't think I saw any, which is quite something, really. So that tells me something. It tells me there's been, a major sort of turnaround, and especially after part 2 as well with Gallifrey, people seem to be loving it, and rightly so. I think it kind of needed it, like you said. I think if we'd have had another sort of Series 11 episode style where we didn't really get any callback to the Doctor's past and stuff, it then does start to feel like, well, is this Doctor Who? Because you're not really, I know you're trying to do this fresh start and your own thing, but you got to have a little bit of sort of callback to the show's roots.
Yes.
Otherwise, it is a different show. And that's why I was surprised that we got so much, because, I thought there'd just be the odd little maybe name drop or something just to make it, it's still Doctor Who. But no, this was full on, like taking it back. So I don't think it was too soon. I think a couple of people felt it might have been, but I think it was great. I've always said as well, ever since Series 11, because I found Jodie to be written quite weak some of the time in Series 11, I've said many a time as a sort of, I've had to sort of justify why I think that, because, as we know, you can't say anything critical without being, having to justify it with an essay. And I've always said, well, just imagine her Doctor up against Missy. Missy would blimmin' tear her to shreds. And that's always been my argument with, like, the way she was written in Series 11. I didn't find her very strong. And that's what I've always said. Like, don't you think Missy would have just torn her to pieces?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Whereas, now we've got this new Master who's equally as evil, if not more. She's really stepped up, and the two of them together I thought were fantastic. Like, they really played off each other really well, I thought. So definitely great to bring him back. I think it worked really, really well.
Yeah, and I think there was a certain element of damage control as well from Series 11, I think, along with the creative ideas that they wanted to do throughout Series 12. I think there was also an element of, look, we kind of didn't hit the mark with Series 11. That's evident from the reviews and the feedback and stuff. So let's fix some of those things as we go through. And I think as part of that, the bigger arc, if you like, is the Gallifrey Master thing. So I think that's also just linked into, what didn't we quite achieve with Series 11? Because they must have been, after the last episode of Series 11 went out, and then maybe a few weeks after that, once viewing figures had settled, and there must have been like a big review meeting. They must have said, look, how do we feel this went? Let's look at the reviews and all the feedback, and let's reflect. Let's have a think. We wanted to do this, and we achieved some of those things, but it's obvious that we're not hitting the mark with some other things.
Yeah, I mean, there must have been, because at the end of the day, if you take this back to basics, it's a job. In my job, we have constant reviews and constant feedback from customers that all affect, everything to do with our, being called into the office. Right, we've had these feedback. This was said, and it's no different in that, to that job. They will have been said, whether they like it or not, right, this has been happening, the viewing figures, we're down with it, it's part of it, so I'm sure, maybe not quite as black and white as that, but you get the idea I'm trying to say.
Yes.
So I'm sure they will have assessed Series 11 to move forward with Series 12, because obviously that's what you want to do. You want to look at, in any job you do, you want to look what you got right and what you got wrong, so you can move forward. So I think definitely they would have done that. Yeah. Yes. And it certainly feels like they have. Yeah. I mean, that's one thing I was worried about, actually, is because on my first viewing of this, I loved the story. I really thought part 1 was strong. But one thing that didn't click with me was the Doctor. And that really concerned me. In part 1, this is. In part 1, she kind of irritated me again. And I was like, because of the dialogue. And I was thinking, she hasn't improved. She's still the same Doctor waffling on about, I used to live in a barn and I used to stare at rocks. And I was thinking, Chibnall, stop writing it. And the snap gag, which a lot of people loved, call me an old misery, but it made me cringe. I was like, stop writing her as such an idiot. Like, make her strong. And I found her quite irritating on the first watch in part 1. And that worried me, because I was thinking, I really enjoyed the episode, but I'm still not digging this Doctor, and I don't think I ever will. I thought, that was my initial thoughts after part 1. And as a Doctor Who fan, I was a little bit sad inside about that. I was thinking, no, she's just going to be, there are certain Doctors we all love and certain Doctors we never quite take to, and she's going to be one of them for me. She's going to be one of those Doctors that everyone loves that I don't. Bit like I love Matt Smith, and I get upset when someone says, no, I didn't like his Doctor. And I think, no, he was great, but, she's going to be one of them. But that kind of changed after episode 2, and it changed again when I watched it last night. And I nearly swore again. I'm so happy about that, because one thing I want is to really like this Doctor, because obviously it's going to affect my enjoyment of an episode if I don't like the lead. And I didn't really like her particularly in the first part, but don't know. It started off bad, I'll be honest. When she was trapped in the wherever, in that funny place of all they look like sort of DNA strands, which look fantastic, by the way.
Yeah.
She started doing all this talking to herself, and I was like, here we go. Why do they write her to be so stupid? And I was getting a bit annoyed, but she really turned it around. And when I watched the 2 episodes back to back, I don't know, I sort of saw her in a different light. I suppose because of that ending. She's so good in those last 10 minutes when she's back on Gallifrey, and when she sat in the TARDIS and it's all lit blue. I thought that was really nice. I was thinking, they should do more of that different lighting of the TARDIS. When she's watching the hologram, I just started to sort of warm to her Doctor finally, so that when I watched the 2 back to back, the things that sort of sometimes irritate me, like the waving of the Sonic, and also I get a bit annoyed when she's sort of written to sort of look like she doesn't know what's going on. She sort of pulls this sort of I'm like, I want her to be a bit stronger sometimes, but I've realized a lot of it is down to the sort of writing and the dialogue, because I feel and I hope that I'm finally warming towards this Doctor. Certainly I loved her by the end of part 2. I thought the last 10 minutes she just was fantastic, but I was a little bit worried at part 1. I still wasn't seeing much progression, to be honest, but mainly because of the sort of things like the snap gag and things like that, and all the sort of silly waffle that they tend to give her, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I definitely am seeing some progression. I really did, watching them back to back. I really did start to sort of finally see the Doctor in her, I'm pleased to say.
Yeah. And
also the mind thing, when she was erasing her performance was beautiful. Like, she was like, I'm really sorry, but you're going to, I've got to do this. And she was wiping their memories of her and, stuff like that. Her performance was really, really good in moments like that.
Really good, actually.
Yeah. So I am definitely warming to her finally. I'm pleased to say. And it is mainly down to the writing. I just don't like it when they write it so clownish, Like, I love conveyor belts, me. I want to get on one and all this silly stuff. It's like, it's just a bit much for me personally. I'm sure, like the snap gag, there are people out there who love those moments, but I just find them a little bit too frequent a lot of the time.
No, I read you. Yeah, and it was one of the things that, I'll be honest with you, before the episode 1 went out, I thought, please, I'm probably like a lot of other Who fans that didn't quite like Chibnall's writing, especially from Series 11. I was like, please, Chibbers, can, let's get on board and write a decent episode, a decent story, because that was one of the main criticisms that a lot of people had last time, was that Chris Chibnall's seems to be a great showrunner, but when we had this with the Moff a few times as well, great showrunner, but some of the episodes that he wrote just didn't quite hit the mark.
Yeah.
So I was glad that he pulled this one out the bag pretty much, wrote a cracking story. But I was hoping that the Doctor would be like, because when they put the trailer out and it had that really edgy modern music to it, and they showed the Doctor to be this really kind of gritty, no nonsense kind of character. And I love that. I thought, wow, she's going to be like this in the episodes, because sometimes a trailer can throw you off a little bit. Seen that loads of times with films where you thought, wow, that looks really good. And then when you go and see it, it's like, the trailer was better than the film, if you know what I mean. So I was really hoping that was the case, that she was going to be a lot more assertive, not as clown-like. And for the most part, she was. There was a few scenes where she was absolutely the Doctor. Absolutely. And there was a few scenes like you mentioned when she's playing cards and she's like snap and but I thought the humour was a bit more dialed in as well. Like there's a couple of bits that were in the trailer that were funny were still funny in the episode, where she's hiding under the floorboards. And
I thought she was stood up when we saw that clip. I thought she was trapped in a wall or something. It's really strange when you actually finally get to see that she's in the floor. I think the thing with her Doctor is that the good thing about this two-parter is that it did give her a range to work with the script, whereas they very often, when we just get one-part episodes, they write her a bit one note. She's all very high octane. Come on, fam, let's do this, and it's all a bit. There's no pitch to it, so she delivers her lines kind of all in one tone. Whereas at least this episode gave her something to actually to work with, like the emotion. So a lot of it, I think 99% of it, is down to the script, really. They just, because when they give her that to work with, Jodie's great, like when she really looked broken at the end, it was a great performance. And even when she's back with the fam and they're like, are you all right? She's like, yeah, of course I'm all right. What do you want to know? She's delivering something rather than just this constant stream of high octane gags and very hard to get rid of me and all all this stuff. It's just, when they sort of give her a bit of depth, it really works well. And I hope we get more of that. I really do. We can't, because I think that's the thing with me. If she's just always on this one level of energy ball, it's too much for me personally. I just find it it begins to irritate me. But when I see her sort of acting differently to stuff like she was in this Dubai, I then start connecting with her. I mean, that end shot of her in the TARDIS with her back to the console was just, even in that just shot, she's just showing a range of emotions in her face, and this is more like it. Give her stuff like that and she's fantastic. And absolutely is the Doctor, not just like I said, sometimes I say, oh, she does feel like the Doctor. No, in those moments she is the Doctor. I can see it. But you got to give her more of that. You can't just keep having this silly person that jumps around, like she's just had a load of energy drinks. You know what I mean? So, but I'm glad. That's one reason I'm really pleased that we're reviewing parts 1 and 2. Because I think if we'd have been reviewing part 1, I'm sorry to say, I probably wouldn't be being very positive about Jodie as the Doctor, because I wasn't at the end of it. I wasn't feeling it. But watching it as a whole, I really do.
Oh, that's good.
Good. So I'm glad we're reviewing parts 1 and 2. Yeah, definitely.
What did you think to the overall theme being a bit James Bond-esque? Because I thought it was going to be, my fear was that it was going to be some kind of spoof, some kind of comedy spoof of James Bond. But it turns out that there wasn't that much James Bond in it, really. We had some of the music from Sagan was very themed like James Bond, like there's a few scenes. And then we had the whole MI6, and so that was there. And then we had that scene later on where they go to Barton's birthday party and they're in their tuxes and they're undercover. That was quite James Bond. But other than that, it wasn't too sort of crazy Bond-esque, I didn't feel.
No, it wasn't. I was quite relieved about that, because I remember when they announced the episode name and the sort of synopsis for it, and I was thinking, oh dear, because I'm not a fan of spoofs, or, well, it's not even a spoof, is it? But I'm not a fan of when people take something and try and make their own version of it, like A Christmas Carol, the Christmas special. I'm just not a fan of that, because it feels just like, well, couldn't you think of your own idea? Like, why do you have to use something else? So no, I was a little bit worried when they first announced this, thinking, oh dear, is it going to be the Doctor being James Bond and Casino, right? Okay. But actually it wasn't anything like I thought it was going to be. It was so much better. And you're right, it didn't really feel like a spoof or pastiche at all, did it? It just took certain elements, like you said, like the MI5 and all that. Was it not MI5?
MI6.
MI6. It just took little elements like that and the tux and stuff. It was just enough to be fun without going into sort of parody, I thought. So I was pleasantly surprised by that. Yep. Did you think Stephen Fry was a bit wasted? I wasn't expecting him to get shot so quickly.
Absolutely wasted, mate. Yeah.
I was absolutely convinced I would have lost money on this. I thought, of course he's not dead. They're not going to get Stephen Fry in and kill him off. I said he's going to come back as the villain or the mastermind behind it, isn't he? He'll turn up at the end and be like, of course I'm alive and I've been plotting it all. And so I was way off the mark there. I was shocked when he got shot. I was like, no, they can't have got him back just for those few minutes.
I was gutted with that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? I was shocked. Yeah. I really did think he would come back.
For the most part, he's a great actor as well, Stephen Fry.
Yeah.
He's really good most of the time. And I thought what he did with the character of C was bang on. He had that kind of old school British, just fits the bill perfectly. But I honestly thought he was going to be in it pretty much throughout the whole story and not even get bumped off. But so I was gutted, mate. I was like, oh no, he's so good. And that was I think the casting has been great in this one. Not talking about the Doctor and the companions, but Stephen Fry as C, Sacha Dhawan as the Master and O, and some of the other supporting characters as well that were littered throughout the story.
Yeah,
it was really good. The only person that I couldn't quite get to grips with, which I thought was okay, was Lenny Henry.
Really?
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. I thought he was okay, but there's just a little bit of me that thought I just felt like he was unintentionally holding back a little bit. I thought he could have been a little bit more forceful at times, and I thought he could have come across as a little bit more of a sinister bad guy, because I just felt he was just a tad flat. I felt like if you look at the performances from some of the other characters compared to those people, I thought he was just a little bit understated a little bit.
He did seem to be trying to do understated, didn't he? I must admit. I thought he was quite good, but then maybe that's because I'm not really a fan of him. I wasn't expecting him to be good. I know he's quite a good actor, but as I said before, when I see him in interviews, I just find him a bit irritating. So, but he's a good actor. But I did like him in this. But the thing is, I think he did get a bit lost in terms of, I almost forget he's in it. Like when I watched it last night, I was thinking, oh yeah, of course we got Barton in there as well. But that's not so much to do with his performance for me. It's just more that there is a lot going on. So you got like the shiny light villains, whose name I keep forgetting, the Volantis.
The Kasavin.
Oh, is it? I keep thinking it begins with V. Kasavin, is it?
Kasavin, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was something else. So you got those guys, you got the Master, obviously, you got all that going on. So to me, the character of Daniel Barton, although he's quite prominent at the start of it, he kind of gets lost for me. He's a bit sort of inconsequential. I mean, like, there's that bit where he's got his mum tied up and all that. And I'm thinking, what was the point of that? I really didn't get why he suddenly decided to kill his mum. I get that he didn't get the approval he needed. I don't know if that's trying to give a bit more backstory to his character, but that seemed a little bit pointless to me, all that stuff. But no, performance-wise, I quite liked him, actually, much to my surprise. I quite liked Lenny's performance, but I agree with you. I think he was purposely trying to be understated, and maybe he went a little bit too understated.
Yeah,
like he definitely could have given a bit more. But I thought he was quite good. I like the bit when he's in the room when Yaz and Ryan were hiding behind the sofa, and he's like, "Come on, I know you're there," and we assume he's talking to them, and then the villains appeared, and I thought, oh, that's quite good. Moments like that. But yeah, I didn't have a problem with him. I thought he was going to annoy me, I'll be honest, but I thought he was fairly decent. What happened to his character though? He just runs off. Are we going to see him again?
Possibly.
He just runs off, doesn't he?
Yeah.
That's the last we see of him. That was a great speech as well. It's really funny. He's talking to us, the audience, and we know what he's saying is right. Like, you let us into your homes, you give us all your passwords. This is real life. I'm sat there thinking, yeah, this phone that's next to me now, it's giving away all my private details, and we're all but we don't care, do we? We just, yeah, well, whatever, But I kind of liked that, thinking, yeah, it's talking to us, the audience, but we still do nothing about it. But I thought that was a great moment. All that stuff.
Well, Doctor Who has done that lots, hasn't it? Throughout its period, it's always had these, even if it hasn't sort of directly slapped you in the face with it, it's always had themes that have run in parallel with what's going on, either politically or world stuff. So I thought that was great, that speech, because I assume everybody who was watching it, who owns a smartphone at least, were thinking, we're thinking, well, he's absolutely correct. But we don't care. We still, even though we know, or most of us know, that whenever we open Facebook or we use Facebook, it's tracking what we're doing, where we are, and all that stuff. But we just do it anyway. And
I know.
Complacency, but it was a great little speech, But he had some great scenes, though. That's the thing throughout the story. And there was also that kind of question that was overhanging his character throughout the story as well, that he's only 93% human.
Yeah, so, because he said they let him, I can't remember, they sort of explained it, didn't they? But
that was something that, again, it was that I felt that needed a bit more from him to push that through the story. And he had some great scenes, like the bit when they go up in the plane, the bit when he's leaning out of the Range Rover and he's shooting at them on the bikes and stuff, and that speech we mentioned. So we had some great scenes, but when those scenes were finished and after the episodes were finished, I just thought his character, I think his character is going to be quite quickly forgotten. So,
yeah, I'm sorry to say, you're probably right. Yeah, I mean, as I said, I'd sort of almost forgotten him already. When I went to watch this again last night, in my head, I'm just thinking about the Master and the Gallifrey stuff, and and then he pops up like, oh yeah, of course he's in it as well, and yeah, he does definitely get a bit lost in the story, that's for sure.
Like when we're watching series 14 or 15 years to come, we're not going to think back, oh, do you remember Barton from series 12? He had that kind. He didn't really just push enough, and I'm sure that's down to the direction. I'm sure they're like, look, he's this type of character, and this is, his background, and this is how we want you to do it. And he's like, okay, I think I'm going to do it like this. So you can tell that between him and the directors, they kind of understated it a little bit. He's meant to be this kind of cool character who's, top business mind and knows the world, and he's very cool. Like, even when the doctors confronted him at his birthday party, and within like 0 seconds, she's like laid it all out on the table. Like, I know who you are, and all that stuff. Even then, he's very cool as a cucumber. But I just wanted a little bit more. I just felt like maybe it was in contrast to the Master, thinking about it. Maybe because the Master was so kind of evil and, like you mentioned earlier, not as full on as Sim's Master, but he still had that crazy maniacal Joker from Batman type of vibe about him. Maybe because they needed somebody in contrast to him. Because if you had somebody who was also like an evil, excuse the pun, an evil sort of James Bond type of villain, that was like that, it would be a bit too much. So thinking about it, and as I'm talking about it, maybe that's the reason why we needed a bit of a yin to the yang, I suppose.
But I get what you mean. I think, a little bit forgettable. Huh? I just think, did you notice the annoying fly as well? When he's doing that speech about the phone, that beautiful shot, all lit behind him. I thought that probably took ages to set that. Oh, that looks amazing. And blimmin' heck, there's a keep going, Lenny. There's a fly. It's sort of buzzing around him the whole time he's talking. And I bet they tried to get rid of it. Right, just do another take, and the fly's back. And they could have digitally removed it, I suppose. But yeah, it was so obvious, wasn't it? It's just buzzing around his head, that blimmin' fly.
Yeah.
Although I think they got rid of it in the second bit. They probably squatted it, because it's when he first does the speech, isn't it? It's buzzing around him with those beautiful lights behind him, just ruining the shot. It's the same fly that probably invades Graham Norton's set. I don't know if you've ever, when Graham Norton's done a few interviews, there's often been this fly that's like Chris Hemsworth swallowed it once by mistake. It's this annoying fly. But I did notice that. Stealing the scene.
We've mentioned them a couple of times, but what did you think to the Kasavin then, the alien threat in this one? Because they were quite elusive. We didn't get much in the way of information about them or why they're in cahoots with the Master and stuff. So I thought their overall appearance... Do you know what? I was really scared for a moment. I thought to myself, is this... In the same way that you thought, are these going to be Cybermen? Because they've done this before. Do you remember in the... I think it was the Tennant story when I think they were labelled as ghosts. Ghosts started appearing all over the world. They were just like these shiny figures that showed up.
Yeah.
And they turned out to be Cybermen ultimately, didn't they? So I thought, oh no, because we saw the Cyberman in the trailer. So I thought, are these just going to turn out to be Cybermen that are in this form for now? But until the Master's ready to sort of pull the curtain on his big plan, they're going to turn. So I was scared for a minute, but then that sort of quickly went away. But kind of interesting characters. And they were... I wonder if we'll see them again, because the Doctor obviously didn't get rid of them in any way. They just grabbed Barton, didn't they? And they went off to their own dimension. So what do you think to these guys then?
Yeah, they were intriguing. I really like the bit when they were trying to get in the TARDIS and the Doctor's like, I didn't think anything could get in here. How's that doing?
Cool.
That was quite good. Yeah. The best scene with them was in part 1 when they were surrounding it turned out to be the Master's TARDIS, but when they were surrounding O's shack, Australian shack.
Oh,
and, yeah, that was great. Some really good jumpy moments and classic Doctor Who. And I thought they were quite scary considering they had no form, but there was a definite threat level there. I thought that bit was really, really good. So yeah, I thought they worked quite well. They were in the sort of background of the story really, but they did what they needed to do. I think it worked quite well with the Master. I thought they were decent. I still got this thing in the back of my mind that the Master will come back in the finale and they'll transform into Cybermen. I can see it, but I don't know. I'm probably wrong, but I just kept thinking it's just the way they sort of not stomped, but the way they walked. It's like very Cybermanish, those, but probably not. But who knows? Who knows? Yeah, I think we might see him again. Yeah,
I think they were quite cool, and I think they were quite menacing, especially when they were talking to the Doctor.
Yeah,
because the Doctor's trying to find out, and she asked them why do you look human? Why have you taken human form? And their answer is just because it amuses them.
Yeah,
I was like, that's creepy.
He's like, he's mocking you, Doctor.
Yeah. So I think I think we'll see them again, and I think we'll see Barton again. I do think I think we'll definitely see Barton in Series 12, but I think maybe we'll see these dudes maybe in another series of Who, maybe in Series 12 again. I'm not sure, but there's definitely a lot of question marks hanging over, how the Master started to plan the takeover of this dimension with them in the first place. How they're affiliated with Barton, because it seems to me that the Master was manipulating Barton into doing that stuff.
Yeah.
But how does the Kasavi fit between the two of them? Do they answer to Barton? Do they answer to the Master? To both? I think there were some question marks there that I couldn't quite figure out.
There was a few questions left unanswered. That's for sure. I mean, one of the questions I thought was, what has the Doctor done with the Master's TARDIS? Like she obviously used it to get back to save the day, which is all well and good. Then she traps the Master in their DNA strand world or whatever it is, which looked fantastic, by the way.
Yeah.
Which really looked amazing. But what happened? Yeah, what'd she do with the Master's TARDIS? She just parked it somewhere, or she left it? I don't know, because that was just sort of left, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So again, there's a strand there that will no doubt be picked up. We have seen a room, haven't we? We've seen some photos, or maybe it was in the trailer.
In the trailer, I was going to say,
where we said that looks like a TARDIS. Could that be the Master's TARDIS? I don't know.
Yeah, I just thought of that as you started to say that. I thought, because we've seen that console-looking room, in the trailer. So that kind of another supporting bit of evidence to say that the Master will be back. Definitely at some point. He'll be back anyway, I'm pretty sure, but
I'm sure
sooner than the finale, it feels like.
When's the Cybermen episode supposed to be?
I don't know, mate. They haven't released any upfront info on what they have. We only know next week's, don't we? We don't know what's going to happen after that.
See, I'm quite excited for that now because the Cybermen, since the series returned with Eccleston, the Cybermen have never really hit the mark for me. They're not very threatening, I don't think. They just stomp around. Whereas now that I've seen that Chibnall's, like the Master was pretty nasty. Like when he appeared in 18, whatever it's supposed to be, when he started telling people to put their hands on their heads and then was shooting them anyway, I was thinking, the Chibnall's not afraid to let the villain let rip, So I'm hoping these Cybermen are going to be scary. They look from the trailer to be scary.
They do.
So I'm hoping we're going to have less of the stomping and more of the sort of Cybermen, that actually are a bit, you don't want to mess with them sort of thing. They're a bit frightening. Yeah. So
I think we need that from the Cybermen again.
We definitely do. I can't really think, there was a couple of good Dalek stories since the show returned, but Cybermen stories not been great, I don't think. Can't really think of one that I often go back and watch. Well, especially, you think of Nightmare in Silver, which is living dreadful and stuff like that. The Cybermen haven't really been utilised particularly well so far, I don't think, since the show came back.
No, there were some good elements in the Capaldi. That they brought back the Mondasian.
Oh,
they were okay for a while. There was a really creepy scene where Bill goes into the hospital ward.
That was creepy.
Yeah, so they've had some good elements, but overall, I agree. Yeah, they've not really utilised them that well. So I think, fingers crossed, whatever Chibbers does with this new one, or new Cybermen or Cyberman, if it's a single one, I don't know. But hopefully the Kasavi don't turn out to be Cybermen. Because that would
you
be
don't
like
want them to be. No, I don't know. If it's later in the series, I think might work okay. But just
because it's been done before, mate. That's all.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It'd be a bit, treading on water. Yeah.
What did you think? To just quickly, this obviously dived into a little bit of a historical at times, where the Doctor goes back to the to like the wartime era, but before that, she went back and she met up with what's her face, the woman who invented the first computer, I think, or was involved in it, Ada Lovelace.
Yeah,
she went back and she met her, and her character was quite cool. She was quite really up for good, a bit of a challenge and a fight alongside the Doctor. And then she went into lots of wartime period, 1943, and that's where she met Noor Khan. Noor Khan, the spy. He was sort of radioing back information from Paris and Germany and stuff. So there was a bit of because one of the coolest things from Series 11 were the historicals, really, like the historical part of it. So it's cool to see that they're, right off the bat from Series 12, integrating some of that historical stuff as well. So I thought those scenes were actually quite cool because it was just the Doctor on her own, essentially. She has to handle business by herself. It wasn't like Series 11 where she always had one of the TARDIS companions with her. She was actually doing her own thing, and I think that made her a bit of a stronger Doctor as well.
It did.
Yeah. So did you like the historical element in the story?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I thought all the stuff in France and that was really looked beautifully shot as well. And I thought the performances from both those actors playing Noor and Ada were really nice. Costumes just looked amazing as well. Just really everything about it just looked fantastic. And I agree with you about the Doctor. I think she is stronger, when she's sort of put on her own, because she doesn't have to do all this, like when she's with the fam and she's like, they write lines like, oh, are you enjoying being kidnapped? Oh, and all this sort of stuff. When she hasn't got to deliver all that silly dialogue and she's just thrown into a situation, I think the Doctor works really, really well. So I did enjoy that. And I thought she worked great with these two, with Ada and Noor. That was a really, it was a very different dynamic, and it was nice to see. So yeah, I liked those, and I thought both actors were great. So Sylvia Briggs as Ada, lovely performance, and Aurea Marion, I think, as Noor Khan. Just really nice performances from both of those, and they worked really well with Jodie. So yeah, I liked all that stuff. Yeah,
it was good actually.
Yeah.
And lastly, on story stuff, did you like the big, I suppose that was a big James Bond-esque type of action scene, is when they have to land the plane after the front of it had been blown off. I mean, in terms of Doctor Who, that was like movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's the kind of scale action stuff, wasn't it? I mean, there was quite a lot of action throughout, but we saw this though in the trailer. Remember when we reviewed the trailer before Christmas? We said that it looks very action packed and lots of stunts and some visual effects and stuff. So that felt quite James Bond, actually. The whole, you have to try and land a plane just with an app on your phone and the Doctor giving them the video and the signs under the seat. It was a little bit convoluted.
A little bit.
With the Doctor going to all the trouble of putting the name signs underneath the chairs and recording a video and all that kind of stuff. It's a tiny bit, but, you know, in terms of Doctor Who, it was pretty good action.
Yeah, it was good action. I mean, this whole episode just looks so big budget. I mean, watching them back to back, it is like a film. I was thinking that, you know, when they're having the car chase, when they're chasing old, Barton, I thought this is like cinematography in that is incredible. And the effects as well, the plane, the CGI, it did all look amazing. Yeah, you do have to suspend your belief. Well, you do, I guess, throughout Doctor Who, just in general, don't you? But yeah, I did think to myself, it's getting a little bit silly, but it's all right. It's still fun. It's when she's saying stuff like "I love a laminator" and that as well. I did like that bit. Actually.
That was funny, actually.
Yeah. That's the sort of bit that does actually hit the spot. It was a bit shouty. That's the only thing I would say. I was a bit like, I kind of just wanted them to blimmin' land, because there was a lot of shouting in those first 10 minutes, wasn't there?
Yeah, especially Graham. He was crapping his pants, wasn't he?
Yeah. So I was thinking, yeah, come on, just get the blimmin' plane landed. We know you're not going to die, but. Yeah, but visually, mate, this episode is stunning. And while I remember, I must mention Seagun's music, because I felt he had upped his game as well. Because you can tell he's been given the brief, like we need some James Bond style music here, but just close enough not to get sued. And that's what he delivered. Really great theme, very Bond-esque, but not the Bond theme. His music was great in this. The wartime stuff as well. You know, he really sort of, I think we've said this during Series 11, he's looked at what the episode is and just fitted his music to it, rather than just thinking, right, we need some action music, let's bang that on. We need some quiet music, let's bang that on. He sort of seems to pick themes for the certain scenes, like the France stuff. It was sort of had a sort of Frenchy theme to it. It feels like he really suits his music to what's going on, rather than just like a style, you know, of, action, quiet, sad, you know what I mean? He just really feel like he's looked at what's on screen and has fitted his music to it. So I thought he'd upped his game very nicely. Not to say I didn't like his Series 11 stuff, I did, but, you know, it feels like he's taking it to the next level, which this series feels like it's going to the next level so far. So yeah, I felt like he'd moved with it, which was good.
Yes. No, I agree, mate. Yeah, he definitely had that. He fulfilled the brief in that we need some James Bond style music, which is good. But the rest of it also just seemed to fit really well. There wasn't anything where I thought, I can't hear what's going on because the music is overpowering. It just seemed to be really good, supportive themes. Yeah. No, he's definitely great. Yeah, really good. Okay. And just quickly then, because we haven't spoken about them really, it's the fam, the companions. So I thought two of them were very consistent from Series 11. I thought Graham and Ryan were very consistent. I thought their characters were just exactly as you left them in Series 11. Because we see Graham at the doctor. The doctor's like, you know, you're clean bill of health, you're all doing well. And then he mentioned something like, you know, you're going to travel or whatever. And he's like, yeah. And then Ryan as well. Just like he was. And they were good in this this episode and this story, but I feel like they're doing something slightly different with Yaz. I don't know if you picked up on this.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Oh, you did. Good. So there was a bit where she gets taken to the other dimension early on in the story, and she gets abandoned by Ryan. Pretty much, he just runs off. He's like, "Sorry, Yaz," and he legs it.
Yeah.
And then when she gets back, you can see that it's really having an effect on her more than it is on the other two. So it feels like Graham and Ryan are kind of up for it still. And don't get me wrong, all three of them are with the Doctor. There's a bit where they're like, you know, we're family in the TARDIS and stuff, which is why they want to know more about the Doctor. But it just seems to me like Yaz is being affected by it more than the other two. Like there's a bit where she's, after that, when she gets back after being taken to the other dimension, she's very quiet and thinky. And when Ryan's trying to talk to her, she's not kind of talking back to him as much as he'd like, I don't think. And then just throughout, just throughout the second part of the story especially, she's okay, but I don't know, but I just feel like her character, I'm going to call it now, dude. I think that Yaz will be killed.
No.
I think we're going to lose Yaz by the end of Series 12, mate. I've just got a feeling, just the way that they've handled her character from this very first story, something's not quite right with how she views being with the Doctor. And I don't know whether it's a case of she feels like I was just nearly killed and that's having an effect on me, or she feels like I'm not sure what's I don't know. I'm just going to call it. I'm maybe wrong, probably wrong, but I just got a feeling by the end of Series 12, one of the companions is gonna croak it, and I have a feeling it's Yaz as well. Maybe not die as in Adric die, but maybe she's going to end up being teleported somewhere off, and that's it. She's lost, a bit like Rose, but just not as here's Rose again sort of thing.
I don't know. Now you said that, you could be onto something. I was going to say, I think there's definitely a progression in her character, which was much needed. I really liked Yaz in this two-parter. I really did. I thought she was giving us some good stuff to do. Performance was good as well. But yeah, you could see she was physically very disturbed by being trapped in that world, which of course you would be. Noel Ryan tries to comfort her in his clunky way. I don't know. I think there might be something going on there. I'm not sure what. But yeah, I'm all for it because I'm really starting to warm towards Yaz's character. I thought there was a nice progression between Bradley and Ryan as well. Like like in Series 11, we had that awkwardness of Ryan kind of, didn't want to say the word and all that. And in this, they're kind of joking. There's a lot of banter between the two of them. They seem to be getting on better. And I thought that's a nice progression because they would start to bond, wouldn't they, going for all this stuff? So, yeah, the three of them were definitely written much better in this two-parter. And it was good to split them up because it gave them stuff to do and it, much more interesting, having, Yaz get trapped in that world and then appear back in the room with the Doctor and all that stuff. So yeah, it was good to see that. The only thing this is another moment which people will probably have loved, but I didn't. And that was the laser shoes. I really just didn't like that. I don't know. It's just me being a grumpy old so-and-so, but I found that cringy as hell. Like when they were like, guys, get on the floor because I got some laser shoes. Don't make me do the shuffle. I was a bit like, oh dear. But I can imagine that's one of those moments where a lot of people found it really funny. But like that slightly annoyed me because I love Graham. I think he's a brilliant character, but that was just a bit silly for me. Maybe I'm just getting grumpy. Don't know.
I mean, I did find it quite funny. It was
it's probably just me.
It was a funny scene, but I get exactly what you mean though. It did feel a little bit clunky,
a bit silly.
Yeah, and also the I know, like we mentioned earlier, and you do have to do this a lot with Who, but you have to just accept that things are not the real world and things don't. You have to suspend your disbelief a little bit. But
definitely
the bit where he's firing the laser out of his shoes, I mean, they're coming out of his shoes for God's sake. So laying on the floor is going to do very little.
Exactly. And why laser shoes? Why would you have? I don't know. It just seemed like a bit of a gag that didn't work to me. But as I said, it's one of those that some people will have thought was really funny. It's just depends on your humour, doesn't it? But I didn't get that at all.
But it was
sorry.
There was that cool bit especially between Ryan and Graham, where I think Graham says, I've still got some of those gadgets from MI6. And Ryan's like, yeah, I've got a couple too. And then look in their faces like, yeah, this is exciting. We're up for it. Let's get the gadgets out and let's go get back out there sort of thing. So that was a nice scene as well. But again, it just highlights the progression with Yaz because she clearly doesn't feel that. She's not feeling that stuff, like the other two.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because they were like, we didn't read the instructions or something. The banter was very much between those two, wasn't it? She still seems to be a bit, her mind's on other things.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but no, I liked all that stuff. And when the light creatures started bursting through that building site that they were hiding in, that was all great stuff. That's one thing I will say about this two-parter is it was mostly action. It really sort of rolled along. There was a couple of quiet moments, but it was pretty much on the go. Whereas a lot of Series 11 was quite slow-paced, took its time. It felt like this was a bit like I said earlier, a bit like a feature film. It really rocketed along in pace.
Yeah.
So, scenes like that, just when you're sort of starting to relax and laugh, then suddenly the aliens are back. Oh, okay, here we go, and stuff like that. So, yeah, that was all good stuff, I thought.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Yeah. Okay. Anything else you want to discuss before we do scores?
I've got literally pages and pages of notes. Hopefully, I've managed to cover the important stuff. I think it is one of those episodes where we probably could talk for another 2 hours. There was a lot to take in, and I'm pleased to say a lot of really great stuff, really good stuff. And the only two things I've got that I've sort of highlighted, which I haven't talked about, was I did love the fact we had the Master's code. What do you call it? Like the I thought that was brilliant to use that again. The rhythm of two hearts, Time Lord heartbeat code. That was a really nice touch to bring that back. Along with Contact as well, the old classic. They did the Contact, which was really nice moment. The tissue compressor master thing, I loved all that. And the only thing I really just wanted to sort of say was I love the fact they dedicated episode 1 to Terrence Dicks.
Oh, yeah.
At the end it said dedicated to Terrence Dicks. Did it say something like masterful
Terrence
writer
Dicks.
or something?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Really glad they did that. So, yeah. Overall, yeah, just I think I pretty much covered it. It's just really nice to be saying positive stuff. I was quite worried going into this series. I thought, right, what are we going to get? Is it going to be more of Series 11? Is anything going to improve? And for me, it's really, really improved. Hopefully, it's certainly a very promising start anyway.
Yes. Yes. No, I agree, mate. I think I'm just so glad that there was loads of good stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm aware of some of the shortcomings still, and there is it's no episode's ever going to be, well, hardly ever is a story going to be absolutely perfect and stuff. So there are some little niggly bits here and there, but overall it was great to just sit down and enjoy Doctor Who again and just be like, I want more. Like at the end of it, I'm like, I just want to, even though there was only a few days in between, I felt, oh crikey, I really want to just see that. And I haven't felt like that in a while. Like through Series 11, quite a few times you and I were like, well, I'm not really fussed about seeing the next episode. I'm not sort of, chomping at the bit to get cracking with it. But with this one, I felt like that again. I felt like even after Series 2, I'm like, right, they've hit us in the face with a really good story. What's next? What's coming next? So that's all good. And I like the fact that there are a lot of firsts as well. The first multi-part story to have the same title. The first time that we've seen a potential monster or alien being able to get through the TARDIS. The first time it's been dedicated. All that stuff. It's just really good that they're pushing the boundary a little bit and doing that stuff. So
yeah.
It
does certainly feel like Chris is hopefully comfortable and ready to really make the Doctor Who he wants to do. That's what I'm thinking. And it's nice to be saying positive stuff about Doctor Who again. And it's nice to be excited about Doctor Who again. I mean, before part 1 aired, I assumed I'd be working, and I'll be absolutely honest, I was thinking, oh, I'm not really that bothered. I'll just watch it when I get home. Mm-hmm. And I thought to be saying that about a show I absolutely love is not right. And then obviously after part 1, I absolutely can't wait for part 2. And I thought, wow, that's good. That is a good sign, that I literally cannot wait for. And thankfully it was only a couple of days because, like you said, it was really good to tie up that 2-parter in sort of 1 week. So yeah, it's really nice to be feeling that again. And I hope it continues. I'm looking forward to next week's, whatever it's called, Orphan 55.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. I really hope continues to be as good as this.
Yes. And I like the Gallifrey stuff as well. Great that we're going to see all that stuff. Yeah. And the tiny little things as well. So the little comment that the Master says to the Doctor, did I ever apologise for the Pharos, when you fell off the Pharos project, which is a nice little hark back to the Fourth Doctor's regen. Little things like that sort of whiz by. You didn't really have time because, like you said earlier, it's like a feature film. It's moves quick and it's action packed. There's no time to sit and reflect and have that. Hold on, what did you just say? Because you're just pulled in by the performances and the writing. So
that's right. He says, he remarks on. So he calls it Jodrell Bank, doesn't he? Because there's a little bit of there was a little bit of, did they get it wrong or was it intentional? I can't remember. Because I think, obviously, he's referring to what happens on the Pharos project in the Gopolis, where the Doctor fell and regenerated. That's the reference.
Yeah.
But it wasn't actually Jodrell Bank that happened. But then we think the Pharos project was based on that. So it's a bit of a sort of continuity error, I think. Or at least they've got the name wrong. But it could also be right because it was kind of based on that. We don't know. It's a bit of a strange one, that, because it wasn't. The Doctor didn't fall from Jodrell Bank. It was the Pharos project. I don't know. There's a bit of is it right, is it wrong there? But I don't really care because I just like the fact he referenced it.
Yeah, and I think that's purposeful. I think they did that exactly for that reason, to get people to talk about it. Really, to say, was that right? Was that an error? I think its intended purpose it was bang on.
Yeah. But I liked it. I thought, I love Legopolis, so I thought, hey, it's cool that they put that reference in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that just reminded me of the bit where he grabbed Jodie by the throat.
Oh, God, yeah.
That was nasty, wasn't it? When he's got her over the Eiffel Tower, I thought, my God, yeah. Oh, man. Those scenes between those two were electric.
Yes.
Even like that. Have you forgiven me for that? And she's like, no, I haven't. And all that. The way they played off each other was brilliant, I thought.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got loads more to talk about, mate. We could probably do another.
Forever. Yeah, which is really nice. It's a really nice feeling, to be saying that about an episode or two. Again, I haven't felt like this for a bit, so it's really cool.
Maybe we'll do a follow-up show at the end of Series 12 where we can
recap,
deep dive into some of the really big themes and important stuff throughout the series. So,
yeah.
Rightio, let's put a score on this puppy.
Rightio.
Who's going to go first?
You go first, mate.
I'll go first?
You go first this time, yeah.
Okay, I will give this an 8 out of 10.
Right. I was going to say Snap. And that's going to always make me think of that casino scene now. Snap.
Yeah.
I've given it 8 out of 10 as well, because cool. I scored the first part 8 and I scored the second part 8. So I thought, well, overall it's an 8. So, yeah. 8 out of 10, and a strong 8 out of 10 as well. I think, I'm only sort of knocking off points really for, like you said, a couple of niggly little bits like the expedition and stuff still a little bit there. But yeah, very, very enjoyable. 8 out of 10.
Indeedy. Yeah, a strong 8 for sure. I'm hoping anyway, I think there's more to come that's going to raise that score a bit over this series, I hope.
There is one thing, actually, just one question I have, just one more thing, like Columbo. It's something I've been asking myself and back in my mind as well, and I don't really have an answer to it. And it is that if you took out the Gallifrey stuff, and if you took out the Master reveal, is it still a strong story?
No.
Okay.
Right. No, absolutely not. No.
They sort of make it. I was going to say, because, I like the idea of these creatures going back and forth and all the stuff with Barton, but I guess the stuff that really brings these episodes up is that stuff, isn't it? The Master and the Gallifrey. It really, yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise they have there's no decent motive for them to do that. Mm. Otherwise, it's just a very generic, these aliens want to take over the world.
True, yeah.
So unless there's a why do they want to do that? What's their motive? It's kind of a bit flat, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it did kind of, it definitely needed that, I think, to push it up that level. Yeah. Okay.
Defo, yeah. Right, 8 from us. What did our awesome listeners think? We had a few audio clips in, so very much appreciated for that. Let's kick off with Ian from France.
Hey.
Hi, Ian from France here. So, Doctor Who is back, and he gets off to a bit of a flyer. I must be honest, the title gave me pause. A Bond pastiche could go either way. Would it be Live and Let Die, or would it be Moonraker? Thankfully, it was the former. Let's start with the positives. The production values were rock solid, with some great visual effects and musical accompaniments that might have the producers of the Bond films giving their lawyers a call. The guest cast was excellent, in fact, especially Lenny Henry, who was menacing and charismatic in equal measure. I liked him a lot, actually, so Katanga to a fellow Midlander. The pace was good, breakneck almost, barely enough time to breathe, to reflect on whether it all made sense or not. And maybe that's a good thing. Jodie seemed pretty in control and only briefly dropped into the childish banter of last season. Let's hope that shtick is kept to a minimum this time around. And that master revelation was fabulous. Don't know about you, I didn't see it coming. But there are some negatives, of course. Well, one, really, and that's the continued presence of Tosin Cole as Ryan, who is so bereft of talent and warmth, my laptop screen cracked as the on-screen temperature plummeted. Seriously, there were better actors in my A-level drama class than this guy, including me, and I was rubbish. Get him gone. It would do the show good, as there are clearly too many companions, as evidenced by the sidelining of Bradley Walsh here. Other than that, nothing really to complain about, but we have been here before with Chibnall, right? Great setup, zero payoff. Here's hoping the leopard has changed his spots. Overall then, promising, and I look forward to the catastrophe that will be part 2. Ha ha! 7 Ernst Stavro Blofelds out of 10. D'accord, c'est suffit. Je partis. A bientôt, mes amis.
Ian, I always love it when we get a review sent in from Ian.
Oh, lovely. Thank you very much, Ian. And
Not
yes,
a fan of Tosin. Well, I got a feeling either Tosin or Yaz is going to cop it. I do think we're bound to lose one of them this year. It may be even Graham. I don't know. I think, we'll see.
Ian, not a fan of Ryan, but yes, I think we all share the same concerns with Chibbers. Let's hope he's pulled his socks up. So there we go. Thank you very much, Ian. Let's move on. This is Sammy from Down Under.
G'day, Gary and Adam, Sammy Satine here. So, Spyfall. Well done, Chris Chibnall. That was great. Where was this Chris Chibnall last series? I am slightly worried he's now relying on classic series things a bit now. First the Dalek, now the Master and Gallifrey in the space of 3 episodes. If you keep this level up though, I'll be happy. I like C. I thought he was great. Shame he wasn't in it more. I still want to know what 7% of Daniel Barton is. I really needed this right now. My country is burning. It's heartbreaking, infuriating and stressful. I think I've seen many Aussies feeling similarly to the Doctor when she returns to Gallifrey at the end of this story. I give it 8 tissue compressors out of 10. More like this, please. See ya.
Thank you, Sammy.
8's another 8. Yeah, stay safe, Sammy. It is shocking what's happening over there. Thoughts are with you on that one for sure.
Yeah, stay cool, Sammy, over there. Stay safe, because we want your reviews every week, as always. Another 8. Cool. Let's keep the train rolling. This is Martin Arnold.
Happy New Year, TARDIS travellers. I hope your Artron batteries are suitably recharged, because Spyfall was fantastic. I loved it. There's a few minor nitpicks. You might point to the way episode 2, I didn't think it was quite as good as episode 1, but who cares? It was great. The plot resolved a bit too clean. They set up these bizarre aliens and what's it all about, and then they do their thing and then get defeated. Okay, that's fine. If that's a criticism, I can live with it. I thought the characters were realised really well. I thought Yaz was exceptional in episode 1 with how she reacted to what she went through. I thought the Doctor was toned down just enough, but still maintained her identity. Loved the plot twists. Didn't see them coming. Absolutely loved it. I'm jazzed for this season. This is a great start, and I'm looking forward to more. Cheers.
Nice one, Martin.
Excellent. Another positive review. Yeah.
Another good one. Thank you very much. And yes, I agree with you about the Doctor. Let's hope that she maintains a little bit of what she brought in the first place, but just toned down enough that it's not irritating. so Adam doesn't lob any more mugs at the wall. Next up, I think this is a first-time audio reviewer. I could be wrong. If you've sent an audio clip before, Craig, I do apologise, but I think this is a new one. This is Craig Bryce.
Hi guys, Happy New Year. Hope you had a fantastic Christmas. So, Spyfall, definitely a step in the right direction after the rather disappointing Series 11. It did slow down a bit for me in the middle, but it was picked right up again at the end with Saska Dowan's performance as the Master. Absolutely brilliant, and the cliffhanger was fantastic. Part 2, I'm probably in the minority here. It did dip down a bit for me, but that was mainly because of Jodie Whittaker's performance. Whenever she delivers her lines, they feel forced, they don't seem natural. It's almost like she's trying too hard. But the cliffhanger, wow. I am excited, but worried at the same time. Overall, a good start to Series 12, 7.5 out of 10. I hope to be doing these more often, so hope you're sending another review next week. Thanks, guys. Bye.
A 7.
Excellent. Yeah, thanks. We always love it when we get a newbie sending in a review. So, yeah, keep them coming.
Yeah, lovely. Thanks very much for that, Craig. And lastly, this is Lewis Palmer.
Hello to the Big Blue Box podcast. I'm not dead. I haven't sent in a review for ages. I've been incredibly busy with a lot of very complicated life stuff. But Doctor Who's back, and so am I. Spyfall was really good, wasn't it? It was just, it reminded me of Impossible Astronaut. It's just a really fun 2-part opener to the series that sets things in motion. Lots of very exciting things. Sacha Dhawan as the Master, amazing, so good. Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor. It's so good. I said this in my review that I posted on YouTube too. I love the idea of taking this unshakable ball of hope and optimism and giving her some world weariness, but I find it so inspirational that she still chooses to be happy and fight for what's right despite all the stuff that she's seen and how devastated she is. I just think it's great. Really enjoyed both of these episodes. As a big Bond fan myself, got a kick out of all the references. Really good. Really enjoyed it. I'll see you next time, guys.
Another good one.
Yeah, cheers, Lewis.
Yeah, very cool. Thank you very much, Lewis. That's it for the audio clips. I'm just going to rattle through just a few that we had over on social media, over on Twitter. Davros1736 says, best acting for ages, perfect Master, felt like Pertwee and Delgado to me. Top quality, and if I'm honest, unexpected. Well done, Chibbers. Matt Holder, great double overall. Really enjoyed the first half and the whole of episode 2, 8 out of 10. Jamie Aspinall, good overall. Part 2 was not as good as part 1. What happened to Daniel Barton? I was excited about Chibnall rewriting the lore, but I'm very worried at the same time. However, Sacha Dhawan was a great Master, 7 out of 10. Our writer Jordan Shortman, a great way to open the series. Series 11 left me feeling a little hollow, but this did feel like Chibnall had listened to the criticisms and actually brought back the fun. Goes on to say, roll on the rest of Series 12. Reese, Gallifrey Forever 97, says, mega action-packed 2-parter kicking off Series 12. Great progression for the characters, amazing surprises with great setups for the stories. Really intriguing threat and story. Can be a bit muddled in places, but overall reminded me how much I love the show. Nice. Jack Hooveneer, what a twist with the Master and a great choice. Part 2 was so different in style to part 1, but they were both incredible. 8.5. Joe Bowers, a cracking opener. The big surprises left me speechless, and I loved how all the character arcs developed. Cinematography was stunning and beautiful. Rick Moran, really enjoyed it. Looking forward to the rest of the series with anticipation. Joe Bowers, a cracking opener. The big surprises left me speechless. Oh no, that's the same one. Edward Gillooly, the most entertaining Chibnall episode yet. He really surprised me with the Master and Gallifrey coming back. Gives it a 7.5. The Whoniverse. Hello again, boys. Nice to see you again after the new year. Series 12 has started with an explanation as the dust settles. I can't wait to see what lies ahead. Jodie giving her strongest performance, and Sacha is perfect. He gives it 4 stars out of 6, which is probably roughly a 7. Yeah. Neil, Brighter Moon. Loved it. Great story, action, and the Master. It's got all the things I loved about S11, but then having the big Master reveal made it feel like older Who. I think this is the middle ground it needs to be. I hope it keeps pushing forward. Excited to see the rest of Series 12. The Whoniverse, autocorrect, blah, blah, blah. Rob Kelly says... no, not Rob Kelly, sorry. That was a different tweet. I'm going through these too quickly. Dan Pinn says, wow, loved it. The Master didn't see that coming. See how good Jodie can be with better writing and a proper villain to go up against. 8 out of 10.
Yes.
Caitlin Dalek O says, I loved it. Chibnall's best written work for sure. I think with rewatch, specifically part 1 is a little slow in places, but the ending with the awesome and humorous casino scene, along with Sacha Dhawan as the Master, who makes his reveal big time. I love part 2 even more, with the timeless child arc set up, and the Master and the Doctor confrontations were great. Overall, a 10 out of 10. Epic stuff.
Yes.
D.W. Sebling. I love Spyfall to be an interesting opener. Really fun and enjoyable, but I think the action, story and program were all bigger and better than her character, which was a shame. The Doctor didn't feel central to me. And a last couple. Blair Donnelly, a good start to the new series. I like the Doctor's more serious portrayal, and her outfit was amazing. I love the Master reveal. Overall 7.5. And Sarah Louise, a running Whovian, says, it was a brilliant start to the series. Much better script writing for Jodie's Doctor, and Sacha makes a fabulous Master. The TARDIS team worked well together, and I really enjoyed the story. So fingers crossed, Chibbers start as they mean to go on. An 8 out of 10.
An 8, another 8, yeah.
And we had a few over on Facebook. Joseph Howarth, superb, I say, absolutely superb. Gives it a 9.5. Miles McKenzie, absolutely blown away. Did not see any of it coming. Ultimately left shocked. Overall, it will all blow me away. Chibnall has established his vision amazingly well. A 9 out of 10. I'm not reading these out in full, by the way. I'm just going to rattle through. If you want to check out the full reviews, just go over to our Facebook and Twitter and so on. Daniel Hickey loved it and didn't see the Master reveal coming at all. Due to my lack of faith in Chibbs, glad he proved me wrong. I like that all the companions had something to do. Hope to start audio reviews soon. Get them in, Daniel. Get it recording, get them in. And Aaron Lamb says, an interesting start to the series. Sacha Dhawan's Master is terrific thus far. Chibnall overuse of exposition and over-explaining through the Doctor's dialogue is still troublesome. And Jodie's dramatic moments and humour worked very well for the most part. 8 out of 10 for part 1, 9 out of 10 for part 2. Lawrence Baxter felt like a huge change of gear from Series 11. A Chibnall classic, 9 out of 10. Jessica Leffelman, I absolutely loved it, especially that twist at the end. 9 out of 10. Thomas Richard, 8 out of 10. Charlie Turner, 8 and a 9 out of 10. Kevin Mullin, as good as anything RTD or the Moff ever wrote. At last, Jodie is being written for and not as just a female version of the 10th Doctor. Matt Searson, really enjoyed it, 8 out of 10. Yanto Williams, absolutely loved it. Felt like Doctor Who again. And Jeff Waddle says, episode 1 was a cracker, but part 2 was better. A masterful performance indeed. An even better one from Jodie. All in all, a 9 out of 10.
9 from Jeff. Wow,
a 9 from Jeff.
Be good.
Yeah.
Must be good.
So overall, dude, some really good scores there.
No negative at all, really. But I mean, like a couple of minor criticisms, like the exposition stuff, but no... Mostly around the 8, isn't it? 8 or 9.
8 or 9.
I mean, that is good going. Chibbers must be happy with that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, if you were, those guys, you'd be like, phew.
It is amazing though how quickly Doctor Who fans are like. So like last, right up until sort of episode 1, they're asking for baying for Chibnall's head. He must go. He must go. He's written one good story, and they're like, he's brilliant. Oh, I loved it.
What are you trying to say, mate? That Who fans are fickle?
No,
not at all.
No. I wouldn't dare. Just saying, it's amazing how quickly we change, and that,
of course, yeah.
Just before we crack off, like, what do you have any thoughts on what the Timeless Child might be? Any ideas?
Do you know what, mate? I've been thinking. I honestly don't know at this point. It's such an open-ended, generic. Well, not generic.
That little flashback shot of that kid under that weird. Oh, what's that? I love the fact we've got that little tease. But what is it?
I'm going to call it again. This is going to be Gary's epic fails of 2020, along with Yaz dying or being taken to another dimension. I think the Timeless Child is Rassilon.
Rassilon?
I think Rassilon might be back again.
I'll be honest with you. I am stumped. I don't know what it's. This whole thing of everything we know is a lie. What does that mean? I don't know. I'm really intrigued by it. I hope it's a good payoff. Really do.
Yeah, I think it's something to do with. I think it's something to do with deeper Gallifreyan lore. I don't think it's the Doctor. I think that's too obvious, and I don't think it's the Master because that's nearly as obvious. I think it's something else to do with Gallifrey's history, and the only conclusion I can, unless we start to see more stuff drip fed throughout the series, I think it's going to have something to do with Rassilon. I think Rassilon has thrown a cloak of conspiracy and lies over the Gallifreyan Council for many, many moons and generations, and it's not. I think he's up to something. I think the Master's not the biggest reveal of Series 12.
Yeah, it would be. There's got to be something else, isn't there?
I'm going to be wrong. I know that, but I like to think that would happen.
No, it's good. It's good to have a theory. I need to work on one. I really can't think what it could be at the minute, but I just hope next week we sort of carry across some of this depth of the Doctor in terms of the emotion. I hope we don't, because I kept thinking about, do you remember when the Doctor and Clara had a massive argument and it sort of, the episode ended on that and we were like, oh no, what's going to happen next week? And the next week it was as if it never happened. I don't even think it was mentioned. I'm hoping we don't get that. I don't want Jodie to go back to being, I hope we get another strand of what this timeless child, and do you know what I mean? I hope it's not mentioned. I hope it's mentioned and not forgotten about for a week. And then, you know what I mean? I want this to carry on, this sort of arc of her just, something's bothering her, in the background all the way through so that we get a bit of depth.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that.
Do you remember
that
argument with Clara? And they were like spitting each other across the console. And then next week it was all, we thought like Clara was going to storm off, but she didn't. And then it was all just wasn't even mentioned, I don't think, the following week.
That wasn't, no. Like it never happened. Yeah.
Yeah. Just like real life.
Oh dear. So that's my call on it. Rassilon is the timeless. I just think he's going to be something that's relevant.
Yeah. Oh, it's got to be, yeah.
Anyways.
We shall see.
Next week, it's kind of obvious what we're doing, but next week, bud?
Yeah, I'm loving the fact we've got, I love it when we get a new series. So yeah, obviously next week it's called Orphan 55. We don't know a lot about this episode, do we? If anything.
Not well.
Which is good. I mean, I love it. We just, going in fresh, which is fantastic.
Going in fresh.
So we'll see, Orphan 55.
Yeah. All right. I think we're going to call it there for 250, mate.
Alrighty.
Thank you so much for kicking off the new year with us and listening to episode 250. It's great to be back doing the podcast and having you guys on board. Some great scores for Spyfall, really positive. I think if the series continues like this, then we're going to be in for a belter for sure. Definite pre-orders so far for Series 12 on Blu-ray. Which means I'll be out of sync because I need to pick up Series 11.
Series 11.
Yeah. But so far, so good. And let us know if you want to pick up the Doctor Who joke book too. As a joke.
I guarantee you there'll be like one, at least sort of one episode where it's not very good and everyone will be like, oh, Chibbers got to go again. You wait. It'll change.
Yeah. Of course, we're not fickle. That's all.
And then he'll do a good one. He'll be like, oh, it's brilliant again.
Oh, Chibbers.
Yeah.
I know he listens, so well done so far, buddy.
Well done.
Keep it going. In the meantime, if you want to listen to more of our podcast, head over to the website, www.bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. You can listen to every single episode over there. Plus, we're on all of the podcast networks, Spotify, Apple, Google, Stitcher, all of that stuff. So give us a subscription on those apps if you like what we do here, so you don't miss a show, and it goes out every single Friday. And on the website there's also links to go off to the various social networks, Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. We're all on those, so give us a like and a follow as we chat Doctor Who during the week, and that's where we also ask for your reviews and thoughts for the episodes as well. And on that, thank you very much for our audio reviewers, very much appreciated to take the time out to do that. And also check out my co-host's YouTube channel, The Geek's Handbag.
Yeah, I might actually get to make some videos again soon, hopefully. Fingers crossed. But there's plenty on there to watch until I do, so go and have a look.
Yeah, there's loads on there. Go and search for The Geek's Handbag. And Adam's on the socials under the same name, The Geek's Handbag. So give him a like and a follow on those as well, so we can chat with you guys throughout the week. Until next week for Orphan 55. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And remember...